All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Speedruns From the Crypt. It is a bi-weekly horror hotfix on GDQ, brought to you by me. And I hope that you've all having a good time. This is going to be a fun showcase of spooky games, as per usual. And before we get into that, I just want to say that AGDQ 2023 Online will be from January 8th to the 15th. The second submission period as well is currently open for games released after September 1st, and that is open until the 12th. So you can visit gamesdonequick.com for more information. Anyway, everyone, hope you're all doing good today. Hope you're all doing well. Today, we're going to really be learning what horror is. We're going to be, taking a crash course and all of that. Today's theme is schools. I don't know, fit 2 puns in there. It seemed fun. You're wondering, how does Dead Space relate to school? Surprisingly, it does. A lot of people forget there's like a giant school in the middle of the game. Anyway, we're going to be, having some fun learning about all these different things. I think I used that pun twice. But I hope you're all doing good and are ready for our first run of the night. We're going to be having Dead Space 2 featuring Sharkhat87. Take it away.
All right, hi, I'm Sharkhat87. I've got some commentators with me if you all want to introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Meta. I'm primarily like an FPS and movement speedrunner. I did Dead Space 2 as a 12-hour learning speedrun challenge a few months ago, and I really love it. So, yeah, I'm excited to be here today. Thank you.
Topher. And I am Topher Cakes. I primarily run the Dead Space games, but anything horror is fun to run. And recently doing, getting ready for the remake and all, but this is going to be a lot of fun.
Cool. All right, yes, we're going to be running any percent, so just beating the game as fast as possible here. We can go ahead and just jump in, because there's a little bit of running and stuff at the beginning, so we can explain some things. So we can go ahead and start time when I select difficulty here. So we'll go ahead and do a countdown. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yo, good luck.
Yo, thank you. So yeah, normally we start time, for runs on speedrun.com and stuff when we gain control, but obviously in real time settings, like not in-game time, it just makes more sense to start from the main menu. So first thing to mention is we skipped the intro cutscene by just modifying what your first checkpoint is. So that just skips like a 4-minute intro cutscene you'd normally have to watch every run. Makes the quality of life much better.
It's really bad.
It's really bad. It's really bad. Yeah. Fortunately, it's kind of weird how it works. It's also kind of cool though. There's a value in memory, just called your new game checkpoint. And essentially, it's just when you start a new game, it loads you in at that checkpoint. So you can actually set that to be whatever you want. It could be the credits. It could be halfway through the game, wherever. But coincidentally, you get a checkpoint right after the cutscene ends, as soon as you gain control. So we just set it to be that instead of the cutscene. And so when you start a new game, it just loads you in here instead. That's pretty cool. So again, this is Dead Space 2, so sequel to Dead Space 1. We're still playing as Isaac Clarke. We find out we've been on this space station, the Sprawl, for 3 years, I believe. And they've been experimenting on us since we had contact with the marker, this alien artifact. We're able to build them as well, and we have all the codes for the marker stored in our head and all this stuff. And the marker creates all the necromorphs for these alien zombie creatures killing everybody. So our goal is basically to find the marker on the station and destroy it. That's like the ultimate goal.
Hey Shark, did you know that your rig is red?
My rig is very red, dude. Sometimes I wonder how many times I've watched this cutscene. It's probably a lot.
How many Killed the Tripod runs have you done?
Oh, too many. Yo, what's up, everybody? I see some familiar faces. Hope y'all are doing good. Y'all are enjoying the run so far. Got some cool stuff coming up. Do you guys want to talk about flashlight duping at all? Coming up in a minute here.
I can try. I can take my best guess at it.
Sure.
Yeah, so we have tutorials that pop up as little holograms in front of us that teach us how to play the game. And this first one that we get up here is a bit special in that it spawns a flashlight right in front of you. And I believe by picking that up, it can cancel any other animations that you have going on. And we will actually be able to reuse that in about a minute or two by pulling up the tutorial page, opening up that one once more, and once there's a little, 2 or 3 second cutscene that we have coming up, we'll actually re-pick up the flashlight, that the tutorial respawns. I think it's just a bug that was not fixed, so you can re-pick it up a second time. Doesn't really have any gameplay consequences, but yeah, 2-second time save.
And
Yeah, it's-
when it was, I was just gonna say, when it was first found, it was like supposed to be this like super really big like discovery. I forget what, like,
Yeah.
because it can cancel you out of any animation, and you can like clip through things, right, with it.
Yeah, you can.
However-
you can clip through any. You can cancel any animation or cutscene. Yeah.
Yeah. The only problem is that once we grab, I think it's kinesis. We need kinesis for the run, and then if you do a flashlight dupe after that point, it just like completely cancels out, or it makes you like lose kinesis or something, right?
Yeah.
I'm like half remembering this.
No. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, basically, for whatever reason, it gets rid of kinesis when you pick it up. Even though we
why
don't
not?
have kinesis yet. Yeah, it's kind of. I think it's some weird thing where you might have kinesis before you get cut out of the straitjacket, and then they take it away and then give it back. I don't really know why, but yeah. So after we get kinesis here, we can't use it anymore. Well, without soft locking the game at least. And the other problem is it only works in chapter 1 because the flashlight has to actually be able to load in, and once you go to the next level, this area is just not here anymore. So that is the only time you're going to see it. We skipped 2 cutscenes with it. It would be extremely broken for the rest of the run, but like I said, we don't actually use it. So, yeah.
How much time do you think it would save if it was viable for the rest of the run?
It really depends on the
minutes,
category. I mean, it could possibly save a few minutes. Yeah, I'm trying to think. We skip a lot of cutscenes now, but it would certainly make some things easier for sure. You can also use it to. So there's a fall timer in this game. If you fall for too long, it'll kill you, and you can actually reset that fall timer by picking it up again. So you could maybe do something with that. I'm not sure, but hard to say because we haven't really had time to route it because like you can't do it. But it would skip some cutscenes and stuff like that, which would be cool.
Yeah, do we want to go to stasis skip?
Yeah, we got our good friend Steve here. If you guys want to start talking about this.
Yeah,
That's
so
all you.
okay. Once again, I will try my best. So what Chuck is doing right now is pushing this necromorph through this wall or into another room here. And the necromorph is going to try and get back into the room because he doesn't know what to do out here. But he's going to give up after a little point in time. And we're going to push him right up against the door because both Isaac and necromorphs can hold open doors if either of them are close to it. So we're going to put him right over there, and I think what happens is after you pick up the plasma cutter right here, that door will lock, but because the necromorph is standing right next to it, it will not close, and therefore it cannot lock. So that is setting up part 1 of stasis skip. Hopefully I didn't get anything wrong there. There's so much that happens like back to back to back with stasis skip. It's hard to explain it all.
Also,
Yeah,
you missed
so-
one key factor. The Necroforce name is Steve.
Steve, yeah.
Yeah,
didn't
so
know
basically, when you open doors in this game, some exceptions, most of the time when you open doors in this game, things will load in. So if you open more than one door at the same time, especially while other doors are open, sometimes things will not load fully. So we're in what we just call a deload here. So all the pretty much everything except the textures is loaded. So, all the collisions here for the rooms and stuff. Doors lose their collision, which is nice because we can run through them without having to open them. So it's kind of like a puzzle, right? You can kind of choose like what things you want to be loaded or not loaded. So in this case, we open a bunch of doors to get it so this elevator's not here, so we can jump out of bounds. And then I'm going to do a lineup here so I can walk and open another door that's out of bounds. And that'll load the level around me so I don't fall forever here.
And what he's doing right now,
Hey,
he's
go
right
for
there.
it.
He was pausing and unpausing, and in the very short moments between pauses, he was spamming the interact button because he was following right past a door. And opening doors is one of the ways to get things to load back in. And if he would have missed that, he would have fallen forever. So you quickly unpause, interact, open the door, and then repause to give the game time to load in everything around you. So that's how you kind of catch yourself. And now we are at the end of chapter 1.
Yeah, I didn't catch if you had just said this, but one important thing is that the game will continue to load stuff while the game is paused. So that's why you see us doing it in 2 taps, like 2 pauses at a time. Because if you hit a load, wait, it'll finish loading. Otherwise, it would be a lot more difficult, a lot more hardware dependent. Fortunately, it's not.
There is one extra thing that we've been explaining it back to back to back, but one of the important things that the game put in to help prevent you from soft locking is at the end of the room where you pick up the plasma cutter, there is a necromorph tied to a cot or a hospital bed, and you're supposed to learn how to use the plasma cutter by shooting it without actually being in any danger. But because we never go past that door and kill that necromorph, we never go past the trigger that takes away infinite ammo. So we get infinite ammo before then to keep us from soft locking. But because we walk backwards, we never lose it. So you might be asking like, oh, don't you care about ammo at all? No, we don't. The whole entire run, we just get infinite ammo the whole time.
It was kind of found on accident. It's kind of funny that it works. Oh, and real quick, this is the first skip found in the game actually right here. It's called Plant Boost. So if you run into certain walls at a high enough frame rate, you can climb it, and that's called wall boosting. So we do a wall boost over that plant there and jump out of bounds, and then we hit a checkpoint and reload and put us back inbounds. It's a pretty common thing you'll see in this game. If you hit a checkpoint, even if you're out of bounds, nothing's loaded around you. If you reload, it'll just it'll sort of fix itself and load back in correctly.
And isn't that possible only because like the first wall boost that you do in, sorry, what is it? Plant jump? Hot jump?
Yeah, plant boost. Yeah.
Plant boost, thank you. And that only brings you up like, isn't it like a unit or something? Like it's the tiniest little boost ever. You can't even really like notice it, but it's just enough so that you can ride the wall and then boost up again on the second part.
Yeah,
it's
if you want to be technical, you're actually you're temporarily storing some height off of the first corner, and then you're using that to just barely climb over the thing. It looks like you're running across the railing, but you're actually not. You're actually just a little tiny bit off the ground, and then that extra height lets you get over. But again, that's not super important, but it is kind of cool.
Maddie, you like learned this game over the course of like 12 hours, and you know this stuff, and I don't,
Yeah. I don't know. I'm in a lot of Sharkhead 87 streams.
I don't know if we talked about the patient suit yet here, but you're not supposed to have this. You're supposed to, or normally you're forced to get a suit, like buy one in chapter 1, or else you can't get past a locked door. But as part of the skip we did, we don't even go to that room. And so since we bypassed the one requirement to get a suit, we actually just don't have to get one. There is a part later in the run where we could get one without losing time, but it doesn't really give us an advantage because all it does is really give us more armor and more inventory slots. We don't really need more inventory space. Like, once we get to that point in the run, we're not really going to buy anything else anyway. And like Topher mentioned, since we have infinite ammo, the game actually just doesn't pull ammo from our inventory. It just reloads. So ammo is basically just money. We just sell it. Like, we literally can't use it. The only items we can use are health packs. We also don't have stasis either, so we're gonna beat the whole game without that as well. So stasis packs are also just money. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things about this suit specifically is that because there are no vacuums that you're supposed to enter with this, because you're supposed to get the suit before the first vacuum area, this suit technically has no air, but I think that means infinite air. You never run out, so we'll never see a timer on the back of us because you're never supposed to be in a vacuum without, with this suit on.
Yeah, the air timer just never starts, so it's essentially infinite.
It's like a null value for air instead of a 0 value. Like, it just doesn't exist.
Yeah. The timer can't hit 0 if the timer never starts,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I will say I'm keeping an eye on chat, so if there are any questions or if, we miss anything or, whatever, feel free to ask and I will bring it up to the group. There will be a quiz at the end of the run.
Oh, no. I should be taking notes.
Oh, man. But yeah, this is the end of Chapter 2. It's a little on-rails thing, but after this, we do the first save station clip in about a minute or so. I don't understand the technicalities and how it all works, but I don't know. Is there much to it?
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about that. So basically, when you interact with the save station, it'll give you some movement. It'll sort of pull you in to a certain spot in front of it. And if you, there's also kind of a weird thing where if you interact with a save station or a hack panel, right after you let go of aiming, it kind of does this weird thing. I don't really know how to explain it. It's like sometimes your aiming reticle stays up and I actually don't know all the technical details of like how that part works, but if you abuse both of those things together at low FPS, it'll actually clip you through the floor and the wall instead of pulling you into the right spot. So the way I look at it is you're basically abusing the momentum you get from getting pulled in the save station, but I don't actually know if that's 100% why. It's honestly a very weird piece of tech, but you'll see what I'm talking about in a little bit. First, we got to kill these enemies to unlock this elevator.
I really thought that the save station clip was right here. I haven't played this game in a few months now.
Oh yeah, it's still coming up in a minute or two.
Yeah, it's the garbage room one, right?
Yeah.
Yep. We got a question. Shark, is this your favorite Dead Space, or do you like the first one more? I imagine for speedrun specifically.
Yeah, I think this is if you made me pick between the 3 games, I would probably pick this one. But I do like all 3 a lot, both casually and for speedrunning.
The first one specifically on PC is in dire need of a remake, so it's good that it's getting one. The controls are very jank.
The PC port is a little weird for Dead Space 1. But yeah, all the runs are fun. This is the one I've run the most, so I'm a little biased, I guess. But yeah, this is my favorite one to run, I think.
It definitely feels very clean. I think you said something along the lines of like, you know, when you do something, the game reacts the same way every time. But in Dead Space 1, like, there's so much like, oh, why did that happen? Oh, it could just be the game being silly. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Dead Space 1 has a lot of jank, yeah.
Yeah, Dead Space 2 is hard. Like, it scales, right? So there's some easy stuff and there's a lot of hard stuff. But when you mess up, you can study the footage and figure out what you messed up.
Yeah, there's really not a lot of randomness. There is one trick that is random, and that kind of sucks, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but for the most part, it's a very consistent run, and you can figure out why stuff doesn't work.
I'm trying to remember which one. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, it's Transport Hub.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I don't do that in my red, so.
The funny trick. Just a heads up, I was talking about low FPS, so we're going to be going about 5 FPS for a few seconds here in a little bit, so don't worry, the stream's not dying or anything. I just always like to mention that, just like a heads up. But yeah, so we go to low FPS to do the save station clip here. It does work at slightly higher FPS, but it's a lot more inconsistent. This is just 5 just works really, really well. So you're going to see me walk into the save station, aim and then unaim, and I'm going to interact with it. And that will clip me through it like that, and just puts us straight in the 0G area. And we can just kind of skip the garbage room here. I'm going to do a bit of a real-time strat here. Normally we would checkpoint restart here, but it is a bit slower with the load screen, so I'm just going to back up and open this door, load that in. I should mention that that's actually what you would do in hardcore difficulty, because that has no checkpoints. So for the speed run, that basically means we can't do any of these tricks where we just run out of bounds somewhere, fall in the void, and then reload. You gotta actually get back in bounds if you go out, which makes the route a little bit more, well, not more interesting. It's different. It's just a different route. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, I think we have a little bit of time before the next trick, but something I really appreciate about this run specifically is that if you were to practice this game, if you were to pick it up and the trick was giving you trouble, I would say 9 times out of 10, you can just like not do that trick and ignore it. And then, you know, as you get better at running the game, you can learn to pick it up and, you know, kind of like pick up the harder tricks as you learn it. But a lot of them are just like kind of optional. You know, there's nothing that's forcing you to do one of the tricks.
Yeah, that is one thing I like about running this game a lot, is it's very, I guess modular maybe is the right word, but yeah, there's not a lot of parts where, yeah, you have to learn this or you're losing 10 plus, you know, minutes or anything crazy, right? It's, yeah, this, you know, like this trick, right? This trick saves like 2 seconds, you know. Oh wait, there we go.
If you do it
this
right.
trick saves like 2 seconds, so yeah, I thought I hit it.
It's pretty cool though.
Yeah, it is cool though.
This is one of the few combat rooms that we are forced to do on the run.
Yeah, there's a bit of randomness with which enemies you get here and whether they jump out fast or not, but it really doesn't matter that much. But like when I said there's a little bit of randomness, you know, it's stuff like that. Like you could maybe lose or save a tiny bit of time in that room. We do some of the hacking mini games, which you can save a little bit of time on or lose time. But there's really only one spot of the run where you can lose a ton of time just to sort of, you know, luck. Yeah, overall it's really consistent. All right, so this level is yeah. So this level should explain sort of how the game loads some things. So it says we're in chapter 4, which we are, but chapters 4 and 5 are actually all loaded as one level. It's really the same map. And so what we're gonna do is get to about the middle of chapter 4 and then skip to the end of chapter 5 here. And to do that first part, we're gonna do a sequence break. This level has some fuses you can break to unlock doors to backtrack, but we can abuse that by breaking this one through the wall. Like that. And that lets us get to this room a little bit faster. And then we're gonna do a floor clip here with this table. So certain objects are what we refer to as solid, meaning that you can't just like push them out of the way, running into them with our body. And with those, sometimes we can get them to push us through the floor, like that. And then we can wall boost up here, get on the ceiling.
You made that look so easy.
I hate you.
That's so hard.
That trick is really.
Gosh,
that trick is really difficult. Yeah, it's definitely one of the harder tricks in the run to get fast for sure. Right there, I do a stomp launch. So stomping off a ledge is actually faster than running off. And then we open a door there, and now we're at the end of chapter 5, pretty much. I'm gonna try to kill this guy in one shot there. I'm gonna show up kind of a sort of a niche trick here, just because we're doing this in real time. I don't actually know if this is faster in real time, but basically we shot him before we were supposed to, and that glitches this cutscene out a little bit. I'm gonna run forward and actually trigger the enemies, and then if I run back here and open this door fast enough like that, it'll actually prevent the door at the top of the room from locking, and then I just don't have to fight these enemies now.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
It's you don't see it in runs because it's not faster, but it's cool. So just thought I would show that off. Because normally, especially because we remove loads from the run, as soon as you kill that enemy, the mini boss, you just reload, and then it starts you with a cutscene loaded correctly, and then you just kill the enemies. And the room is cool when you do the fight. It's cool either way, but I don't know. You don't get to see that very often. So
we got a question. Have you guys played the Dead Space 2 versus mode when this game was like, I don't know, more popular?
There's a versus mode?
I've only played multiplayer once, but it was like well after people were still playing it. It was like last year or something, but it was pretty fun. I liked it.
Yeah, I played it like a long time ago, but it was back when like internet on the Xbox 360, and you know that era was like, oh man, it was just really hard to like get good games. So it was before its time. It was way ahead of its time. I mean,
oh yeah, for sure. Casually is a great game, but it's surprisingly broken in a good way. That's kind of how I felt when I got into it. I kind of assumed this game would not be broken when I started running it a few years ago, but oh wait, why am I getting the detonators from now? Yeah, so we actually aren't getting the detonator. Huh. So I don't know. The route has changed a little bit recently, like this year. So it's kind of muscle memory to grab that.
Well, you didn't have a choice, Isaac.
That's okay though. It's not really a big deal.
I told you that was secure, and
who's this?
Who's this? Oh, this is. Oh yeah, this is Dana. So the story, right? So in chapter 1, she calls you and says, "Hey, you have dementia because of the marker. It's gonna kill you. But if you come meet me, we can cure it." And then when we get here, we find out, actually, we're unitologists. We're this cult that actually want people to turn into necromorphs. And we want you to build markers for us. And obviously, that's not good for us. But yeah, this is sort of like the Act 1 twist villain reveal. One of the only longer cutscenes, it's not even that long, one of the longer cutscenes in the run that we can't skip. We actually can't even skip this with cheats, because to get to the next level, you have to shoot an explosive, and that explosive doesn't load in until just after the cutscene ends. So yeah, even with like flying around sheets, you know, 0G everywhere, you know, teleporting, I've not found a way to skip this yet. But if it ever happened, that would be pretty cool. Would honestly be pretty insane. Oh yeah, and then this ship from EarthGov, sort of like the government running this place, shows up and kills Dana and her goons. They're trying to kill us too, because they don't want us to destroy the marker. They're trying to just cover up all the evidence, basically. So they're just trying to kill all the key subjects, as they call them. The guy Strauss we were talking to earlier, over the video log, is one of them as well. We're trying to meet up with him soon.
Yo, can I take a moment to explain the Tormentor fight, Skip?
Yeah, sure, dude.
Yeah, so this fight here actually has 2 phases. The first one is what he's going into right now, where you just gotta shoot the yellow parts on this necromorph. But the second part is typically when you get flung out into space and you have to shoot a canister on that ship, which will trigger a cutscene to throw you back indoors. I guess indoors maybe not the best word, but turns out the devs never put a lock on how early you can shoot that canister. So in a few moments, Shark is gonna run down the hallway and he's gonna get a small cutscene where the ship is going to fly into view of a window. But if you take the line gun and shoot it normally, it has kind of a slow velocity, so he can time it very well, hopefully, and hit the canister on the side of the ship and kind of finish up the phase 2 of the fight before it even begins. Yeah, he got it right there, so this is the cutscene after the phase 2 of the fight, so you just skip the second half entirely.
Yeah, that trick is really, really cool. I was kind of shocked when we found that. It was kind of found on accident.
Goofy
it also locks the camera, so you can do some kind of funny stuff here. Because the camera just like doesn't move. You do actually need to fix this. Fortunately, aiming or anything that moves the camera fixes it. It would be really unfortunate if that kind of just broke and then because you couldn't really progress from here, at least very easily. So I'm gonna drop that schematic. I don't need that. Yeah, we used to buy the detonator at the store coming up here, but we're actually gonna skip that. With Out of Bounds here. So we're talking about deloads. This is actually, I believe, one of the first deloads that was found, at least in the speedrunning community anyway. There's like some other ones you can do an accident here and there, but we finally found a use for it earlier this year. It's one of the newer skips in the run. So basically, the devs sort of knew about deloads, I think, because if you open doors in a certain order, sometimes they'll say, okay, this door needs to close. Because when you run at doors normally, they'll open for you if you run towards them, but like this door you see was not doing that, and that's because the game's like, okay, the game's gonna deload if he goes on this side of it, so we need to shut really fast and force it to close so the player can't get into this unloaded area. But if you do it in a certain order there and you're fast enough, you can actually get past it. And then we do a damage boost here and hopefully land. Nice, okay. We land out of bounds here, and then we can hit a checkpoint. Nice. Yeah, that one is kind of unfortunate to miss because you got to watch that cutscene again with Strauss, so it's not too bad. So we're about to do a trick called a punch hover here. I'm gonna let you guys explain this a little bit, especially once I'm actually doing it because I got to count. But essentially, we're gonna do a glitch here that lets us float in midair as long as we're still punching. And so even once I leave the 0G area, I can't fly anymore. I'll be able to just sort of float across the map. So I'm gonna have to count 57 punches. But trust me, this is actually very fast. This still saves like 2 minutes.
Unfortunately, it's like the least fun one to do. like in a setting where you're trying to be entertaining or stream or anything like that, it stinks because you just have to like sit there quietly and count. So that's why we're here. So by flying out the top of the zero gravity area while aiming and spamming kinesis, I think you just get launched up a little bit, and then if you start punching immediately, you can just like start punching like as though you were standing on top of the zero gravity box. So as long as Shark keeps moving, the punching animation will move him forward a bit by bit, and by using very smart numbers and coordinate systems and stuff, we can find the most optimal checkpoint to go punch ourselves over by lining up with the stars in the background. And once we're over it, by counting out, I believe, 57 punches, Shark will stop punching, and then once he stops, the game will give him regular gravity again. It looks a bit like, I don't know, Looney Tunes, where the character realizes, like, oh, I'm not standing on the cliff anymore. Yeah. And then he'll fall through, hit the checkpoint, and then reload, and we will be much further.
All right, 45, 46.
We're almost there. But yeah, unfortunately, if you miss it, yeah, you just respawn at the room where he was before. So It's a bit of a run killer because this is like one of, like I said about all the tricks that you can add in, you know, it being very modular. Oh, yeah. Like I said about the tricks being very modular, like this is like one of the harder ones to add in. So by the time that you're going for this trick, you know, you probably don't have a lot of time to like save on either direction. So it might be a reset.
This one and the one I just did before are definitely a little bit more advanced, I would say. Just because, like with that one I just did, learning how to actually, because first of all, you gotta learn how to actually punch hover by itself, which is kind of tricky to learn at first. It took me a while to get the hang of it. And then the setup itself, working that out, it's kind of tedious to practice because it takes you like a minute to punch, you know, all the way over there, and then you reload, and if you don't get it, it's, oh, I don't know what I did wrong, you know? So it can be a little annoying to learn. It's one of those things, like once you get it down, it's not too bad. There's actually a trick that's done in the world record. Oh, wait, we should explain this first, hold on. So doing another deload here. So I open that door first and open this door, and this unloads. This one's super simple. Just use the 2 doors, and that's gonna let us walk straight through the gym here and skip that and save another 2 minutes. Because again, when the level's loaded like this, where, you know, the floor and stuff is still solid, the door pads are loaded and we can open them, but the door collision is not loaded, which is really cool. So we can just walk straight through doors. Like there's one, you can't see it obviously because it's dark, but I just walked through a door there. And we're gonna have to open this one here so the level loads in correctly. There we go.
How do we know you're not lying about having gone through a door there, you know?
I guess there's no way to know.
Also, this is the school, by the way, that fits into the school theme of tonight.
And we're gonna try to put Nicole in timeout.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go.
This unfortunately is like, you know, a very slow part of the run because you have this cutscene here, and then you're on the elevator for a bit, and you know, there's like some conversation there, and then you gotta talk to Tiedemann, and that's not fun. So
yeah,
I don't know.
At least the beginning, the first half of this level is really cool now with all the tricks and stuff. It's definitely a lot better than it used to be for sure. Yeah, I forget what we were talking about just before. I feel like I was going to explain something else, but yeah, punch. Oh yes. So in the world record, we're basically doing the full like world record route here. There's one trick I'm doing a different version of just for safety because there's not really a way to back it up. So there's a trick later on called drill skip. We kind of have these funny names for them because there's like 4 or 5 different versions. So we, instead of calling it like just all drill skip or like drill skip 1, 2, it's like, you know, drill skip, extended drill skip, you know, super drill, all this stuff, you know. So the Giga drill is the one on the world record. Yeah, so that one I'm not doing. We're doing a different version. But if you're doing that, you have to set up a punch hover in the dark, and you only have 1 try to get it. Because the timing of when you hit the top, use kinesis, and punch is all like pretty precise. So if you mess up that hover and you don't get it, you just fall, and there's no way to back it up, and so you just lose like 10 minutes or something like that. So we're gonna do a version that is only a little bit slower and is very easy. So
you told me earlier the difference is like what, like 7 seconds or something? Like it's not even really that much.
It's like 1:45, but but considering this, but considering the safety, it's
never
like
mind.
it's yeah, but considering the safety, it's definitely worth it. Like we're still doing the second fastest drill skip, which still, you know, has like a pretty bad, like not as bad of a penalty for missing it, but it's like it's still pretty bad. Oh yeah, I need this. Okay. All
also, anything is better than doing the drill. The drill is awful.
Yeah, the drill takes forever.
Shark, I asked the chat to type 1 if you should go for Giga Drill, and we got 2 1s. What do you say to that?
I said 3.
Wait, what? Oh, I can't count. I can't count. Yeah,
I mean, I'll think about it. I haven't really practiced it.
Don't do it.
No.
I will say though, you did count right. I literally typed that the moment you said it.
Oh, nice.
No, I missed another one. I missed. I'm just bad at this.
Hey, if you wanna see Giga Drill, there's this. Go watch the world record.
But yeah, I mean,
shameless plug.
In a horror game where we skip a lot of the spooky stuff, Giga Drill is our spooky stuff.
Yeah, it's like right at the end of the run too. It's very, very scary. Oh yeah, this is Transport Hub skip. This is the random trick I was talking about. TLDR, this guy's gonna punch us. If he punches us with the right arm, we clip, and if he doesn't, we don't clip. And there's not really a great way to make it consistent, so we kind of just pray. Okay, so if it doesn't work, we can back it up. We just gonna. Okay, he just didn't punch me. Nice. Okay. We can try this a few more times. This is the one trick you kind of expect to not work in a no reset. That was almost it.
You can
He's not
reset
really
as long as you have HP.
Yeah. Yeah, if you get a certain distance to him, he'll punch you again. There we go. Nice. Okay.
Let's go.
So that clips the door.
So the first time, was it like he punched you with the right arm, but it just didn't go far? Like, why didn't it go far enough?
I think he probably punched me with left. I think. I didn't really see, but I don't know. It's a weird trick, man. It's dumb. So with stasis, that trick is actually extremely consistent. It's hard, but it's really consistent. When we skipped stasis, that was one of the parts of the game where we had to sort of figure out, okay, you know, how are we actually gonna make this fast? Because, you know, skipping stasis saves a few minutes, but not being able to do transport hub skip loses a minute as well, so it's pretty slow. And it turns out the punch is actually a little bit faster, so it kind of works out. It's just random. So it's, you know, a lot of runs die, you just get there, and it doesn't work and you reset. But, you know, it is what it is. We'll figure it out someday, maybe. Oh, we clipped out of bounds, by the way. That's called a 0G clip, specifically a wiggle clip. We sort of wiggle our collision into the corner until we clip. And now we're flying to the top of the 0G area. And I'm gonna line myself up so I can fly straight forward and fall out and hit a checkpoint, hopefully.
He's lining up with like this tiny little, like, you're lining up with a glass, right? Or is it like
the setup I'm doing, it's like a texture next to it, yeah.
Yeah,
a
tiny little texture next to this tiny little piece of glass, like 100 feet away, by the way. Like, you probably didn't even see what he was actually looking at.
Yeah, you can line it up down there too, which is what we used to do until like pretty recently, but then we figured out you could just, oh nice, let's go. Okay, so yeah, that's a lot easier. But then we figured out if you set it up at the top, it saves a lot of time just on movement, because otherwise you gotta fly like backwards all the way up. Oh, another little quick thing here we just did is there's two separate triggers there. One is to start the auto-scroller that just started, and the other is to lock the door to get back into this room. You can hit just one of them and not both, which we did. And so now, while we would normally have to be in that room running around in a circle dodging enemies, we can actually take some time to use the store. So we're selling all our ammo, stasis, all that stuff because we don't need it. We're going to get rid of the javelin gun now. Let's see. Do I actually... No, I actually don't need the detonator. Yeah, I guess I just need health packs.
Isaac, I'll try to open the CC door.
Yeah, is it cool if I take a moment to explain like what you did in that 0G skip in the last chapter? Because I think like it's cool enough that it's worth explaining after the fact.
Yeah, sure. We got some time.
Yeah. Yeah, so in the actual chapter, you're supposed to like fix an elevator, go all the way up to the top there, and then fix some solar panels, and then you take the rocket chair all the way back. But what Shark was able to do by getting out of bounds was by flying to the top of the zero gravity box. What happens is that when you hit the top of the box, the game flips you around so that you're like right side up again. So you're facing, you know, sideways. You know, I know we're in space, but, you know, whatever. But once it flips you around, you're able to fly forwards and fly out the side of the zero gravity box. And by lining up correctly, he flies out the side and then falls all the way back down and hits the checkpoint that you would hit right after you get off the rocket chair. So you skip so much of the game by doing that. I think someone in chat by the name of Sergeant Radish said it's an 8.5 minute time set. He should run this game. He seems to know a lot.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest skips in the whole game. Oh, and shout outs to Radish as well, by the way.
Radish is so good at this game.
Yes, he is. Yeah, so... yeah, it's one of the biggest skips in the game. It was found right around when I started running the game as well. It's about... Actually, the skip's almost 3 years old now, making me feel old. But, yeah, it's huge. It saves like 9-something minutes, I think, depending on, you know, what strats you're using for the rest of the level. But it's pretty huge. Once you get, like, I mean, once you get past Transport Hub, the skips just keep getting bigger for the most part. I mean, we skip a lot of stuff in the beginning of the game, too. But once we get to the second half of the run, things kind of speed up a lot. Speaking of which, we're actually coming up to probably the hardest trick that we're going to be doing in this route, at least. You're not including the harder drill skip that exists. So I'll start explaining it now, since there's a lot that's going to be happening. But it's called Bad Ideas Skip. I was gonna skip some dialogue where he says the line, "I'm full of bad ideas."
There's a
So,
central hub in the main facility.
kind of like chapters 4 and 5, chapters 8 and 9 are also one level. And fortunately for us, chapter 9 is below us. And, you know, since we don't have a jump button, we don't have a lot of options to gain height. Any level where we have to fall down instead is really nice, because that's very easy. We just have to get out of bounds. So what we're going to do is set up a deload off of 2 doors. And then we're going to do a damage boost out of bounds and hit a load trigger to load in another level in chapter 9 below us. And we're going to try to drop down and open a door at a really specific time. So instead of landing in the level, we're going to be trying to land just under the level on a small platform. But the reason it's so difficult is if you do it too early, you land inbounds. And if you do it too late, you won't land on the platform, you'll just die. If we do land inbounds, we can recover it. We just won't be able to do the fastest version. But I'm gonna... Wait, hold on. I'll do this after... Actually. Okay, so I'm gonna turn on hardcore at a certain point here after I take damage. Just in case I miss this. So that we can maybe try it again. Because it's a really cool skip and I want to see if we can show it off. Because if I mess this up in the wrong way, we'll hit a checkpoint. Alright, so set up the damage boost there. Alright, so that puts us down here. I need...
Now for the hard part.
Yeah, now for the hard part. Worked in practice.
Like, the door dive and stuff?
Yeah, go. You can go for it if you want.
Okay, so right now, Shark is buffering to try and do what's called the door dive. Basically, there's an invisible door here, and he's interacting with it. Nice!
Let's go, dude.
There is one slight variance to that. So there's a regular door dive where you just interact with the door so that you can just, like, go through it. But we are trying to do a door dive and then, like, get underneath the door. And I don't know how to do that because Shark's a wizard. But anyway, we're getting underneath the door so that we can then get into this area. And then I forget exactly how this area works, but basically you do it in like a different order. Can you explain that? You remember?
Yeah, so normally this one I'm about to destroy, you have to destroy at the top of the room to actually get down here. And the reason it's important is because doing it last means we can run into this cutscene trigger before we're supposed to be able to, and we can actually get pushed on the outside of the tram instead of jumping in it. That looks pretty good, I think. Yeah, I think we got it. Nice. Okay, so like I said, because when you hit the trigger, it just makes you jump. Whether the tram is there to catch you or not, you will jump. If the tram's not there, if you go too early, it's actually really bad because you'll just fall down to the bottom level, and and every time you checkpoint restart, you'll just be stuck there, jumping forever. It's really bad. But the timing's not too bad. If you go a little late, you can reload and it kind of fixes it. But the cool thing about this is normally, you see this thing in the distance here, we pass by this, some more cutscene happens, and we back up, and then we get off the tram. But the thing is, you get a checkpoint right as you step off the tram, and since we're displaced to the left now, we can just hit the checkpoint and reload like this.
What did he mean? What did he mean?
Ooh, okay, wait, I might not. Okay, wait, it should work this time. I think I actually was a little too far right, but it should work the second time. That's funny. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I was just okay, this is what I was talking about. So fortunately, yeah, I'm more okay, this will work this time.
Okay.
Okay. So, like I was saying, it's better to go a little bit more of the timing I did there because when you reload, if you're a little early, if you reload, it'll fix it, which is really nice. So yeah, I could tell by the loading screen. I was like, oh, okay, I missed it, but it'll work for sure this time.
Shark just wanted to show us some more of the Ishimura.
Yeah, and it looks different when we reload here. You can actually see the the skybox and stuff.
So you're telling me if you mess up the trick, the game does the trick for you correctly?
Well, if you mess it up in the right way.
What did he mean?
There we go. Okay.
Easy.
Easy.
If you mess it up in the right way, I love that.
I mean, yeah. If you go too early, you are actually just
task failed successfully.
You are just soft locked. Yeah. Okay. So now that we're done with that, we have another pretty difficult trick here. So we're gonna be skipping most of the Ishimura. Which is sad. This is a cool level, but we'll get to see it more in the remake. So at least there's that, I guess. So yeah, I honestly can't believe this works and that we didn't find it even sooner. Like, it's one of those things like in hindsight, it's like, wow, I can't believe we didn't know this before. But basically, the medical deck, which is really far into this level, is actually loaded behind us, and it's within reach. So I'm going to go to about 19 FPS here, so it makes this a little easier. And I'm going to interact with this and back up, and we can get a wall boost to jump over the lift and fall out of bounds here.
And this
so
area
now
is so dark. Were you able to get a gamma
yeah.
filter on for OBS or no?
Oh, I didn't add one. I could though.
Okay.
We'll only be here for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's gonna look really dark, and it is very dark. So usually for stream purposes, like for like Twitch and stuff, we put like a gamma filter on just so people can see what's going on. That doesn't affect like the game or anything. Like Shark's monitor right now is still very dark.
Yeah, the thing is, OBS, the game capture especially, doesn't really capture the brightness settings for some reason. It just kind of displays the default. So I actually have it cranked up a lot.
I forgot about that.
Okay, all right, so we missed the door there. I might have hit a checkpoint. If not, we gotta just run back over there, which is fine. But we'll see. We did, okay. This is actually fine then, cool. Yeah, this works. Okay, so normally I would have done a trick here called medical deck skip after I loaded in that door. Basically, I would have hit a door that was right next to where I loaded in here. You know, don't tell anyone. I kind of forgot to take the safety checkpoint there, so you know. If I had, I would have spawned back in where the elevator is. But it kind of works out because, like, if you mess it up like this is actually faster than redoing the whole trick. So this is actually probably the best thing that could have happened.
Are you telling me that you tasks failed successfully a second time in a row?
Pretty much, actually. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Well, it's okay. You're gonna get to see a different route here instead. Normally, with a deload, you get there, you can just run through some of these locked doors you're not supposed to be able to pass through, and you can just skip the top level here. But it's a pretty small detour. It's not really a big deal. We get to see balcony skip. You can grab this thing while you walk onto it. Skip that, and then I'm gonna try to go to 6 FPS here and try to skip this lift, but it's a little weird. Oh, we got it. Nice, cool.
Huh. Oh, look at that.
That's a no deloads strat right there. So we have a category. So deloads are very broken in the game. They save like 20 plus minutes. So we actually have a category called no deloads, which is a pretty chill category. Pretty good for people learning the game and stuff like that. I kind of call it chill any percent, because most of the hardest tricks in the run involve some sort of deload, and so they're banned. So the route overall is a lot easier. But that's what you do in no deloads. You do a different version of the skip instead of doing, you know, the damage boost. You just hit a checkpoint instead, and then you just do what you saw there, and still get to the end of the level pretty fast.
Should we maybe re-explain deloads for anybody who just got in the run? Because it's so important for understanding like what's going on with a lot of these tricks, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, so the game doesn't have any loading screens for the most part. Like, you open doors, you go places. It's not like, you know, the game cuts to some loading screen or something, because the game is very smart. Once you go past an area, it unloads the things, and as you're getting into new areas, it reloads them. And a big way that happens is by opening and closing doors. So, you know, if you open the door and, you know, in one direction, then 2 rooms back, it's going to say, well, the person probably doesn't need to see these things, you know. But you could easily trick the game by opening and closing doors in certain directions to, you know, get to areas where the game doesn't think you are. I think there are other ways to do it, but that's the primary way, correct?
Yeah, it's all, like I said earlier, it's basically all kind of like a puzzle. You know, opening doors can load things in, and closing them can unload things. And since doors lose their collision when the level's unloaded, and you can just pass through them without opening them, it essentially means you can, you know, I want to go over to this door and I'm going to open it, or I'm going to go to this door so that it closes, and that deloads this, and you can sort of you have some degree of control of how the level is loaded, and that could be useful to, you know, get out of bounds or walk through, say, a locked door that's not supposed to be, you know, unlocked. I mean, there are doors that never actually open in the game that we can just walk straight through because of this, which is nice. Or again, one of the main, you know, things is, you know, again, just being able to get out of bounds, because if you just stop loading the game in, eventually when you get to a doorway, the next room won't be there, and if you just walk through it, you fall. So you see that a lot as well. The trick we just did there, by the way. So we look down to delay Nicole spawning. You got to watch a cutscene first normally, and then get in the escape pod. But the button to get in is already there. So if you just look down, it delays a little bit. You get in. It breaks the audio of this cutscene, so that's why there's no sound here. But it comes back in a little less than a minute. I saw some people talking about this in chat. Yeah, so you can lag the game with print screen, but it is very hardware dependent. Like for me, it actually lags like a pretty good amount to be able to do some of these tricks. But for some people, it goes to like 1 FPS. It's unplayable. Some people, it doesn't really lag. So that's part of the reason we have the whole FPS toggling thing, because FPS and your hardware affect how fast stuff loads in. And there are actually some tricks where you wouldn't be able to do them if your computer is too fast. But there are also tricks where you wouldn't really be able to do them if your computer's too slow either. So it sort of levels the playing field, because again, the level loads when you're paused, and lowering the frame rate makes the level load in slower. So there's a couple tricks where you kind of just have to figure out what FPS works for you. Like, you know, for me, it's 19 on one of the damage boosts we do. Some people do like 25, 30, but it really just depends. Checkpoint restart here to skip some dialogue with Strauss popping up. And now we're in chapter 11, so we've made it to late game now. Gonna do some more combat here, unlock this room.
Yeah, we're at a weird point between, I don't know, all the fun skips of that last chapter and the gauntlet that is drill skip. And it's kind of like... Are your gun was jammed?
Oh, go ahead, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just... There's just a very long and convoluted trick that's coming up that spans, I forget how many chapters, like, I can't figure it all out, because the drill is its own chapter, so it's like, what, 11 through 13, I think the trick goes?
Yeah.
Okay, I got those numbers right. But yeah, that's going to be coming up in a few minutes, so don't go anywhere.
Yeah, we'll have plenty of stuff to explain, for sure. Yeah, so the line gun there, it has a chance to jam when you shoot it, and the stalker kind of did a weird thing. He doesn't usually charge there. I think I was a little too far right. There's a certain spot you can stand
do you need the
where it can
contact
aggro
beam?
him. But yeah, normally that first mine will just blow up both of them, but he decided to charge me. I wasn't expecting that. And then my line gun jammed, so but it happens. So I'm gonna mash through this text to buy the contact beam. We're gonna use that to annihilate the final boss. Very, very quickly.
Yeah, don't ever forget that.
Did you mess that up in a run?
I had a sub 2 pace run, which, I mean, not that that's fantastic or anything, but like that was literally my goal, was to get to like sub 2 hours. And then I forgot the contact beam and lost like 20 minutes in the final boss.
Oh my.
Only because it becomes significantly harder without like, you know, upgrades and stuff. And without the contact beam. You go into the final boss as Baby Isaac, no contact beam.
Yeah, the contact without even on casual, beating the boss with the contact beam is so much more difficult, and you'll see why. The beam is really, really good. I mean, it doesn't let you upgrade the damage. I mean, I feel like that speaks for itself, you know. Like all you can do is upgrade how fast it is, how much ammo, the reload time, etc. Yeah, it's pretty busted.
There is no damage upgrade node?
No.
Because it's already too good.
I guess you're right, yeah.
In Dead Space 1 and 3, you can upgrade the damage on the contact beam, but in this game, you can't. It's just, you know, reload, charge, speed, ammo, capacity. I mean, even on hardcore, you can one-shot a lot of enemies with it. Really, really strong.
Should I maybe explain the first part with the Strauss kill skip?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so right now Shark is doing another wiggle clip to get out of bounds, and he's going to fly, kind of fly towards the stars and hit a checkpoint and reload the game.
Nice.
And by doing that, he skips the cutscene where you would kill Strauss, and I believe in the same cutscene where you kill Strauss, that's the one that deloads the zero gravity box that you're in. So you can kind of see Isaac's walking a bit funny right now. He shouldn't be in zero gravity, but we never despawned the zero gravity box, so we're technically in zero gravity still. And we get to use that for a fun trick right now by being able to fly up the elevator a little bit. This is Punch Up the Shaft.
Which is such a cool name, by the way. I don't know why, I just love it.
Yeah, it happened. You can do this in other categories where you hit some other checkpoints. But yeah, basically since we hit a checkpoint while the 0G is still active, it just stays active. And normally this level's not supposed to be loaded, you know, when you're in the 0G area. It just happens to overlap. We can abuse that. So this is kind of similar to Punch Hover, but a little bit different. This is technically a tilt. But basically what happens is the 0G doesn't go all the way to the top of the elevator shaft. I'm actually already past it at this point, like already above it. But as long as I keep punching, and I start punching while I'm in 0G, even when I get pushed out, I'll still store this ability or I'll keep the ability to stick to walls, which is a property of 0G, and I'll keep that until I stop punching. So right now, we are just chilling on the side of the drill here, or not the drill, sorry, the elevator, trying to just dodge these enemies, because them hitting us will also mess this up and return us back to normal gravity. So essentially, we're just having to wait this out until we get to the top, and then we're going to use this ability we have here to climb up out of bounds and skip a cutscene. And not only is that fast, but it turns out that interacting with that cutscene trigger after skipping it actually makes you invincible. And the reason for that is because most cutscenes will make you invincible so you can't die during them. And since the cutscene's not really loaded properly, it doesn't play. But luckily, it still gives you the invincibility without having to actually play the cutscene. So once we go open that door, it doesn't look like much, we just open a door. But once that happens, nothing can damage us. But more importantly, the fall timer won't kill us. Because we're actually going to fall all the way back down to that same 0G, the one we're using right now. We're going to fall all the way back down there later, and it's normally too high to make it all the way back down there.
And if you weren't keeping track, by the way, once we get invincibility, we will have invincibility, infinite ammo, infinite air.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything? Is there anything else to get?
Yeah, the
I don't,
speedrun's
not
easy.
really. Still don't have stasis though. Alright, so I'm just being careful. We're gonna do some platforming here. If you fall here, you have to do the whole elevator ride again. Fortunately, we have really good setups now. But this trick was definitely a huge run killer when it was first found. Very, very sad. I'm also going to take hitting this checkpoint a little bit safe. You can just run straight off, but this is a really consistent setup. All right, so we hit a checkpoint just past that cutscene I mentioned, and normally it plays when you open a door. So we're going to go over there and open the door. And again, that's going to make me completely invincible, so no enemies can damage me, and I can fall forever. Well, until my character despawns, but we're not going to fall that far. So there we go. Opening that door makes me invincible. And now we're going to do another small trick in between all this crazy stuff we're doing. Also one of the first tricks found in the game. We can just do a little wall boost over this railing here, and that skips a pretty long cutscene, which I'll probably still show off anyway, because it's kind of a funny visual glitch you can do with that. But here, we're going to be going across, and we basically have to get the drill started. Again, a lot to explain, but we'll get to that in a second. First, we're going to do a trick called gondola skip. So using low FPS and using this prop here to push it against ourselves, we can actually clip... Wait, what? I didn't know you could do that. How did I hit that from all the way over there? I called the gondola back. I've never seen that. I literally don't know how I hit that from that far away. That's awesome.
Marathon moment.
That's crazy. Okay, these guys might be a little bit in the way, but that's fine. Okay, we grab this. We need that. All right, now we're going to do gondola skip. Okay.
Can that lead to anything? I don't...
no, that was just me
not.
hitting the button on accident, pretty much.
Okay.
That was funny. I was just shocked by the interact range on that. It was like nowhere near it.
Yeah, the circuit junction just shorted out.
All right, so normally I would go up and grab this panel here, which we need for drill skip. But instead, I'm actually going to watch this cutscene. You'll see it overlaps with the drill turning around and looks pretty funny.
So yeah, we have like, what, 2 cutscenes playing at once here?
Yeah, and Ellie just doesn't get on the drill. She's like in the animation, like she's in the drill driving it, but she's just on the ground. This puker's trying to mess me up here. Not having too much luck with that.
This is probably the funniest thing in Dead Space.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is actually slow because you can't get on the drill right away.
Worth it.
But it's funny, so yeah.
I feel like there's something poetic about, you know, Isaac being calm and all these things going on around us, you know? You just gotta learn to roll with the punches.
Like, this is fine.
Yeah, you know, it's all about being happy, being in the moment, you know, knowing what you can control and what you can't control. All right, sorry, I thought it was a good little lesson for the viewers there. Sorry.
I liked it.
Thanks.
All right, so we're gonna grab this panel here. So okay, so we're about to do a drill skip now. These guys can still grab me, so hopefully they don't do that. Okay, nice. All right, so basically we're gonna, well, I'm gonna turn VSync on. You might have seen me do this before. This locks the game at 30 FPS. Lower FPS makes this a little easier to clip off here. Nice. So we're gonna jump off the drill there, and this room's gonna deload in a little bit once the drill gets far enough away. So basically, most of the game, Isaac himself actually loads in the next level. But in this case, the drill is an auto-scroller, and once it progresses to certain points, it will unload and deload room. Or it'll load and unload rooms. So that includes the next level completely. Like it will fully deload chapters 11 and 12 in a little bit, and it'll load in chapter 13 once it flies far enough. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fall all the way back down to the 0G from the previous level. And I'm gonna keep an eye on my timer here because we use that to know how far to fly, because there's not really any, you know, visual cues here to go off of. But I'm gonna fly for a little bit here, and then I'm gonna fly back, and then I'm gonna stop, and that's gonna get us right to the edge of the 0G. And this level, like I said, actually overlaps with the next level once it loads in, but we're just gonna be a little bit above it. So what we can do is set it up so that we fall out of the 0G a little bit before it unloads, and then by the time we fall far enough, the next level is loaded below us, and we can open a door to catch us. It's honestly a miracle that all of this works. It's really crazy. And again, you have to do, you know, Strauss kill skip to get the 0G to stay, which lets you punch up the shaft, which lets you become invincible, which lets you fall down here, which lets you skip the drill. It's like a whole progression of events that all need to work together, and it somehow miraculously works out.
I can't really add much else to that. There's a really good video that Waifu has put out that covers this whole trick. Waifu is also another Dead Space 2 runner.
Yeah, if you're curious about any of that stuff, that is a great video. Waifu's drill skip video. I believe it's called something like Speedrunner Stand Still for 2 minutes and 27 seconds in Dead Space 2. We've actually found, this version was found a little bit after that, and there's even another version found since then, just because this trick has had 4 or 5 different iterations. But if you just want to understand, like, you know, why we do all of this stuff leading up to this and kind of how the trick works, it's a really good video that explains all of it. The only thing that really changes with each version of the trick is just we land further into chapter 13, which is the next level. Because this area here is about as far as you can go without, you know, doing some other tech, with just falling out of the 0G. The fastest version sets up a punch hover in the dark here where you can't actually see the edge of the 0G, and you punch for about 2 minutes. And it puts you really like at the end of the level. We're gonna get put sort of like halfway into the level and then have to run through the last bit of it, but we can also, yeah, skip some of that as well. But basically, I'm just waiting here. If I looked up, which I'm not gonna do because it would mess up the camera angle setup I did, you'd see the tunnel and the drill above me. And again, once that gets to the end of its path, I'm gonna unload this area I'm in and load the next level directly below me. And we're gonna try to time that so I back out of this area so that it loads in as I'm falling. So again, we use the timer for that, so I'm just looking at my live split here. I know when to go. We got like 20 seconds left. So dark. Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, that's why we use the timer, because there are no visual or audio cues here that are really helpful. The original drill skip actually did use some audio cues, these like drill sounds that are going off right now.
There we go.
There we go. There we go. Nice. Okay.
Let's go.
There we go. It's not too hard, but it is definitely stressful doing it in a live setting just because messing it up loses a lot of time. But it, you know, we got it. It's easy.
But what you failed to consider, though, is that you are SharkHat87, and you have however many hours in this game, and you're good at this.
Yeah, and it's honestly not too bad. If it was the other one, I'd be sweating. But yeah, that one's pretty easy.
You'd be sweating if it was Giga Drill.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Do we have a name picked out for the next drill skip iteration that we find?
I think Ultra Drill would be pretty good. I don't know.
My vote is on Omega.
Omega Drill's pretty good. Superb Drill.
I think Superb is a downgrade.
It might be.
Superb is like what an English teacher would write on your paper if you did pretty good, you know.
Yeah, I think I like Omega better. Oh, another quick note. Checkpoint restarting gets rid of the invincibility glitch, but since I didn't do that yet, it lets us run through those lasers there, which normally insta-kill you. Neat little time save there.
Nova Drill, Mega Giga Drill.
Nova Drill, that's cool too.
Ooh, that's pretty good
Mega
too,
Giga.
yeah.
Mega Giga's a little too many.
Mega Drill. All right, so we're gonna set up another deload here. Hopefully this one, it's a little tricky. If the enemy doesn't really cooperate or I miss my shot, it won't work, but I'm gonna try to shoot this guy's leg off so he holds this door open here and he can either charge me or not. He charged me, nice, that's a little faster. It's a little harder to hit him, but it is faster by a little bit. There we go, he holds that door open for us, gets a deload. Nice. This deload is actually really annoying to learn because there are really not a lot of visual cues. You kind of just have to get a feel for it in some parts here. Like, for example, I'm gonna go through this door here. We got it, nice. But like, again, there's like, you can't see anything there. But, almost grabbed me, okay, nice.
Part of me hopes that the chat just tries to figure out like the next drill skip name for the rest of the run.
You know, you could technically do drill skip a bit faster because the way we do it now, you hit a checkpoint, but you could open a very small door instead, and that would save a little bit of time because it gives you deload like this, and you could walk through some of these doors. But that sounds very hard. Well, maybe someday. All right, so last trick in the run. This is eye poke skip. So I'm gonna go to low FPS and interact with that elevator there. Elevators try to block you from falling out of them by loading an invisible wall, but at low FPS it loads in too slow. It'll block you. And then we can drop out of bounds, hit this checkpoint here.
Damn.
And that actually skips all of chapters 14 and 15. It saves like 8 minutes over glitchless. It's crazy.
Okay, so for some context here, right?
Ooh, we missed the checkpoint though somehow.
Oh!
I take it back. That was
Okay, wait, let's
terrible.
try that again. Hold on.
I take it back.
Hold on. Take two.
Ooh.
That was just practice. It's okay.
That was the warm up. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay, so clip out again. But I just wanted more time to explain. It just went by too fast. So. Okay. There we go. Okay, that should work. I don't. Okay, I don't really know how that first one didn't, but okay. Okay, game. There we go. Okay, first try. Nice.
Let's go. Yeah, it was just an
for some
instant
context,
replay.
though, like beginner runners like me, like we usually do the elevator clip. You get like, and then you wait for the elevator to go down so that the area like loads and you can actually see stuff. Then you navigate over like a rooftop and you do like 3 different like visual cue jumps before you finally do the last like run off into the checkpoint. Shark just goes yeet and just goes right into the checkpoint. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, you can do a lot. Yeah, like Meta said, there's a bunch of ways to do that movement out of bounds. That just happens to be the fastest way.
I do it the slow way.
You could actually give a version of that a try if you want, Meta. Like the actual first part where you run in the corner is actually not too bad, and then you can kind of like do the other setup where you line up with the eye poke machine and like run off. And anyway, so yeah, Nicole's supposed to be loaded here, but she's not because we skipped opening a door before this. So you just don't see her, which is kind of funny. And here we go. We're actually almost done with the run here. We're going to be doing the final boss. So we get a checkpoint here. I'm going to turn on VSync. Makes this 1 cycle on the boss possible. And then we reload. Even in real time with this load screen, it's still a lot faster because this skips a cutscene here. And don't blink because unless I mess it up, this boss fight's going to go by really fast.
You got this.
I don't know how that first shot didn't work, but okay. It's still a 1 cycle. It's fine. All right, GG. We still got a minute or two here, a cutscene, but that is pretty much the run. Still all hard stuff out of the way anyway. This game's gotten so much faster in the past couple of years. I mean, the game was a 158 when I started playing, and that was like 2 years ago. So, yeah, as you can tell, this game has a lot of really cool stuff in it. It's kind of crazy. I remember when the run was like a lot more like combat heavy, and you know, there were still some big skips. But yeah, now it's just like you're doing skips like the whole time, pretty much. It's awesome.
What's your PB at right now, Shark?
So current PB for any percent is 59:47. The game just went under an hour this year at 59:59, about as close as you could get. And then about a month or two ago, I improved it a little bit. But yeah, you know, maybe 58 next year if we find some more stuff. But yeah, the
People talk about
fast.
Yeah, people ask like, what historical event do you wish you could have gone back to be at? And I wish I was in your chat when you got the 59:59.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, there's the video of the end of the run, the pop up and stuff, which is really funny. But yeah, that was a cool run. It was so close. I kind of messed up a little bit, and it was like best possible time 59:58 going to this level. So it was like, you know, I don't know, man. It's so close. I thought I didn't get it, and then people in chat were like, oh, I didn't think you got it. And then I got to like about this point, and then they were like, actually, wait, I think you did get it. And we just didn't know till the end, but it was insane.
It's
All
so
right,
funny.
so time's coming up in like 30-40 seconds. There's this quick time event that plays. When that disappears and we get pulled into the ship, that's going to be time. I'll call it. I'll let you know about like 5 seconds beforehand. But just real quick to get it out of the way, and just quick shout outs to the whole Dead Space speedrunning community. Y'all are great. You know, got a lot of really cool people in there. If you're interested in checking out any of these games, we've got a speedrun Discord. You can check us out on speedrun.com. All that stuff. Feel free to ask if you got questions. You know, always excited to see people checking out the game and all that. So time's coming up like 5 seconds here. And time.
Nice. GG.
Nice.
Let's go.
GG.
Thank you.
Perfect estimate.
Underestimate. Let's go.
Okay, what is it? It's yeah, under an hour 10.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that went well. Pretty much about as well as it could have gone. You know, stuff like Transport Hub is always a bit random, but yeah.
So, while you are here, one, do you have any shout-outs you'd like to give to anyone? And two, if anyone wanted to find you, where can they find you?
Yeah, like I said, just, you know, check out the Dead Space speedrun Discord and all that stuff if you want to check out the game or just want to try some of the glitches for fun. Shout out to the whole community. And if you want to find me, you can find me at SharkCat87 on, you know, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. I stream, you know, speedruns on Twitch, a lot of the whole Dead Space series, Outlast games, sort of like horror games in general. Running Scorn recently. So yeah, if any of that interests you, come check it out. Come say hi. And yeah, thanks for watching the run. Hope you enjoyed it. And that's about all I got.
All right. Well, once again, if you enjoyed SharkCat87 and this run of Dead Space, he does do a lot of that stuff, so go ahead and check him out at SharkCat87. You can find much more spooky games. For now, we're going to be gearing up for our next game, so if you would like to, you can follow it Games and Quick is up to. You can hit !links, LINKS, in Twitch chat for all things GDQ. We'll keep you up to date on all different happenings on different social media. Anyway, we're going to be right back very quick. Stand up, touch your toes, stretch your legs. We're going to be on a quick break. All right, everyone. We are back from the break. Welcome back. We're going to be continuing our night. We have our nice schedule of games. I guess... You know, I don't remember. I've been out of school for like, I think 10 years or so. I don't actually remember a lot of school-based puns. I think just the word schedule. I think that's what the class schedule that class schedule. There it is. Anyway, we're going to be continuing the schedule of games we have for you tonight. We still have plenty of more school-themed games coming on deck, and I hope you're ready for the next one. The next one's probably the game you most likely think of with school games, at least if you're into anime. But we're going to be going to Corpse Party, featuring Alice at Wonderland Games. So take it away.
All right. I am super excited to actually show this game off. I feel like this is kind of a hidden gem in terms of speedrunning in general, so like, I hope that y'all enjoy the run. I am going to go ahead and start. I'm going to start on new game here. So I will do my best to explain. There's a lot of tech that's actually involved in this game. I'm going to do my best to explain it all to you. And we're going to start the run in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so this is actually a game that is pretty old at this point. It came out in 1996, believe it or not. This is actually not the 96 version. The 96 version looks quite a bit different, but there's been quite a few remakes over the years. This is the 2006 version, which is one of the older versions, but this is the quickest one, and it's the one on Steam. If you haven't gotten a chance to play this, I would really highly recommend it. It's super fun. It has a lot of really cool gameplay elements and really fun story. There is a lot of really interesting tech to this game as well. You can see it's kind of on a grid system, but it is a lot more complicated than it seems. First of all, the game is looking for a lot of invisible tiles. As you explore the school, it's kind of looking for you to feel like you're lost, which is a really interesting aspect of the gameplay. But one of the biggest things we do at the very beginning of Chapter 1 is the cursed room over here. The cursed room is looking for you to hit a lot of invisible tiles because it wants you to feel like you're lost and you're trapped. So what I'm going to be doing is whenever you see my movement look particularly erratic, what I'm trying to do is hit invisible tiles. So that's what this weird movement here is in this room, is I'm hitting invisible tiles, I'm making sure that I interact with everything that's required, and then it will unlock the door. We're going to get locked in a few rooms throughout this game, so buckle in and get used to being locked in rooms because it's going to make you feel like you've already made a wrong decision and you're locked in there permanently. We are on our way to pick up the final item already. The final item is actually a floating key, which is a staple of the series. Floating keys are really interesting because they only appear in rooms that have 2 entrances, and when you go in one entrance, they float to the other side, and when you go on the other side, then they immediately appear back on the other side. So the only way that you can collect these floating keys is when you have 2 people in your party. There is actually a point where we only have a single person in our party, and it's impossible to collect this floating key, but we're going to station 1 person on this side, and then we are going to go into the other side and grab it up here. There we go. This game is on an interesting grid system. I think that that's really interesting as far as speedruns go, because it kind of makes the speedrun, like, solvable in a way, because it's really easy to map out the fastest way to each trigger that you need to hit. But there are a few downsides, one of which being that if you begin to step onto a tile, you have to finish the movement. You have to move entirely onto that tile. It also makes it a little harder to move, you know, like diagonally. The movement options are a little limited, but it's super interesting. We're going to do our first bathroom over here. There is a really interesting glitch that was fairly recently found that I'm excited to kind of show off for y'all. It is PC exclusive, and I will show it off in the infirmary, but basically, when you step onto an invisible tile that it's looking for you to get onto, there are some invisible tiles that it wants you to get onto, move off of, explore more of the room, and then get back onto that same invisible tile. What we're going to do is we are going to step onto that invisible tile and hold 2 opposing directions, and the game will think that we have both stepped off and stepped back onto that tile at the same frame. So I'm going to show that off there, and I'm going to point it off. This is one of the hardest points, actually, in the game, is doing the perfect movement in the infirmary here. So let me see what I can get for y'all. Perfect. And here's the glitch. That cutscene is supposed to take a lot longer to spawn, but we instantly spawned it by holding 2 opposing directions there. Perfect infirmary. Very nice. There's some interesting tech with text boxes that I'm going to show off as well. There is, as soon as we get up to this bathroom, for any photosensitive viewers, there is a few pieces of flashing light here. So if you want to look away for photosensitive viewers for just a sec, it's only for like 10 seconds. I'll let you know when you're done.
Appreciate it.
And there's chapter 1. The chapters get increasingly longer. Now, you will see the screen go black whenever I finish a chapter. What's actually going on there is after each individual chapter, the game tries to play credits for that chapter. And kind of decided as a community, it's really annoying to have to watch credits after each chapter when you're doing a full game run. So what we're going to do is we're just going to quit out of the game and then load back into it immediately, and that's the fastest way to just skip the credits, is just leaving the game and coming back, because it autosaves as soon as you finish the chapter, so there's no reason to really watch the credits. The text box tech that is really interesting is if you notice, a lot of the text box I'm selecting really quickly, and the text box selections do actually matter, and they matter quite a bit. The reason that I'm getting all of these perfect and as quickly as I am is because if you hold up and spam select during a text box, it will select the top option. And if you hold down and spam select during it, it will select the bottom option. And so that actually helps us get like the correct text box options really quickly. And especially in chapter 5, that's going to become super duper important, and you'll see how quickly I can select the correct text box. It's really helpful. This is Rio. This is the first of our school's ghost children. Rio is actually really deadly. If you ever look directly in his eyes, he just kills you. So a lot of our movement is going to be like right there to avoid looking directly into his eyes. We're going to do some really tight dodges on Rio throughout chapter 2. So I will definitely make sure to point those out because they're a little scary. You'll probably hear me hold my breath for just a second. There is some other really interesting item tech you may have seen me do at a couple times throughout this game. Oh, funny little thing about this. There used to be a setup for dodging Rio right there at that cutscene. And then we retimed it and found out that it was actually faster to just do the casual intended strat and run away from him and then come back. So I think that's hilarious that original runs were doing a slower strat and overcomplicating it. The current record is actually a 39:40 by me, but that's in-game time. There is some early item interaction, which is some really interesting. So basically, as I was talking about, this game is on a grid system. The grid system is really helpful with early item interaction because when you step onto a tile, you do have to commit to the tile. But that makes it so that the game assumes you're already on a tile as you take your first step onto that tile. So because it already assumes that I'm on a tile, I can go ahead and interact with an item the very first step I take onto an adjacent tile for it. And it only saves about half a second per item, but we're going to interact with a lot of items throughout the game. So that saves quite a bit of time over the game if I continue to get these correct early item interactions.
Wait a minute. This game has IGT?
Yeah, it does.
Oh.
Whew, okay. That's a really hard skip right there. The community decided that it was kind of unfair to, you know, favor those with better PCs, especially on the PC version. So what they did was they implemented an auto splitter, and we only use in-game time now so that everyone only has their gameplay counted and not loading times.
I'm not gonna lie, I might need to get back into running this game.
Oh yeah, please do. There's been a lot of really interesting skips found in the past like year to 2 years, especially because there's a new optimization in chapter 3 I'm definitely going to talk about, but it's really interesting.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna say I love having games like this because it's one of those things where I ran this years ago, and then I hear someone better than me running. I was like, wait a minute, you can do that? This is literally the only piece of RNG in the entire run, and I think it's funny that the run only has a single piece of RNG, but let's see how we do here. Hey, she moved out of the way for us. So Ayumi has a 25% chance to randomly move in each direction during that section. And the best RNG is for her to just get out of the way so we can take a straight beeline back to the bathroom. She did move out of the way. I was a little worried as we were walking up to her that she wouldn't. But that is the only piece of RNG in the entire game, and that's funny to me that that's the only piece of RNG in the entire game. Now that we are kind of seeing the other ghosts that are going to be threatening us throughout this entire run, I can get a little bit of background without being too spoilery as to what's actually going on in the game. After I do this really tight dodge, hold on. I'm gonna be quiet while I do this really quick. Whew, okay. Those are not super easy. As soon as it gets halfway onto a tile with you, you just die. And especially considering this is a speedrun, we're not going to be taking time to save. So the last save was at the beginning of this chapter. That can be kind of brutal, especially in a live setting, trying to run this. The story of this game
is really interesting, and I'm going to not spoil anything, so those who haven't played it still have the chance to and not really have anything spoiled. But basically, it is your 8 friends and their teacher did a friendship ritual for someone who was going away to a different school, and it was supposed to be a friendship forever charm. But the charm ends up getting botched, and they found it online from kind of like a sketchy site, and the friendship forever charm sends them here, into this horrible paranormal supernatural realm. They eventually find out that this realm that they were sent to was a closed down elementary school. There was a series of children murdered here, and it was obviously eventually closed down due to that. And so what our goal throughout the run is to figure out who these children are, why they were murdered, who murdered them and why, and try to appease the children so that they shut down the supernatural plane and we can all go home. So a lot of our interactions are going to be either avoiding the ghost children trying to murder us, or trying to appease them in some way so we can shut down this plane and get home. The first thing that we're going to do is pick up this very creepy doll. This creepy doll gives us very cryptic messages, but we found out that the murderer actually taped a confession onto this creepy doll, so we're going to try to give it back to these ghost children and see if a confession by the murderer who killed them does anything. And that actually results in one of the scripted character deaths for this game. It is not possible to save Mayu there, sadly. But that is Chapter 2. Now, the chapters do continue to get longer and longer. This is Chapter 3. This is the one that was actually recently rerouted. You'll see a lot of my, fast text box selections here. One of the biggest reroutes that we found is, here, I'll point it out in a second. Chapter 3 has a really interesting mechanic to it. The Chapter 3 is basically meant to explain your sanity. Yes, this game has a sanity meter. It has to. Chapter 3 explains sanity. In this game, they call it darkening. So the more darkened you are, the lower your sanity. So there are actually several story events where you're required to darken yourself and lower your sanity before they happen. This is the first part of the reroute. We thought the invisible tiles had to be hit top, bottom, top, but found out that you can actually do this and save quite a bit of time.
Huh.
And just re-enter that door double really quickly, and that actually works to hit all of the invisible tiles that you need. That saves quite a bit of time. That, with one other thing, ends up saving up about 18 seconds in Chapter 3, which is a ton of time for something as optimized as this game. So, several points throughout Chapter 3, we're going to purposely have to lower our sanity. Chapter 3 also has a very silly storyline outside of this. Aside from, reading victims' memoirs and very dark things and learning how the school affects people's sanities and those kinds of things, Yuka has to go to the bathroom. So, aside from all of that very serious stuff, we are trying to find Yuka a bathroom through the entirety of Chapter 3. So we're going to just be checking all of the bathrooms, trying to see which ones actually work. It's a very silly side storyline for a very serious plot. Now, this is the other major reroute for Chapter 3. Early Infirmary was actually found out to be way faster. Originally, because you came up here to collect the key anyways, you would do Bathroom 1, and then go back for Infirmary, and then do Bathroom 2, but they found out that 1, you could do Early Infirmary like this, and 2, it's actually way faster to do both of the bathrooms together. Shout out to Dr. Dirigible for finding that reroute, BT dubs. Now you'll see a lot of the movement I'm taking is trying to, I have a bunch of visual cues, and if I tried to explain every visual cue I was using, it would take way too much time, but I use a bunch of visual cues to line up my shoulder or feet or point the character in the correct direction or everything. Oh, one sec. Got it. That is a buffered input. Buffered inputs are very hard in this game because basically what happens is if you are holding a certain direction during a cutscene, and then the second the cutscene ends, release that direction and then use another direction, it uses the buffered input from the cutscene first, and then the other direction that you're holding. It kind of results in a nice little diagonal movement when you have to move diagonals really quickly. Visual cues. A lot of what I'm doing is setting up visual cues to try to do as straight of paths as possible. So I'm just basically trying to take as straight of a direction into the next area as possible so that we, cut down on time, travel time, etc. Okay.
I do want to mention really quick, just a Twitch chat here. For Corpse Party, The game is incredibly punishing, as surprising as it may sound. Earlier, we mentioned that it does have the chapter system. For one, Alice has to get the perfect ending of each scenario to unlock the next chapter. I don't think the game lets you progress unless you get like what is considered the best ending of the section. More importantly, if you die at all, you have to redo it from the beginning of the chapter unless you made a save. There's no autosave, so unless you think that you might die and you decided to make the save, you're just kind of, I guess, SOL at that point.
Yep.
And then one more thing, throughout the run, you may have noticed that the text is going really fast and you're seeing the word skip a lot. Alice, I'm pretty sure, has been running the whole game holding down like the X key on her keyboard.
That is correct,
that lets you skip all the text immediately. It just way faster than mashing it. So not only is she running the game as she's running it, but she's also running it while holding down a button the whole time.
Yeah, I'm holding down a single button for 40 minutes straight, which is interesting. Oh my gosh. This is the Old Wing. I like the Old Wing quite a bit. First of all, I do want to point out, this game just has like banger after banger. It's like an Oops All Banger soundtrack, and I adore all of the music that's played throughout this entire game. Right here, we're going to talk to a lot of the other NPCs who are trapped in the school with us. It turns out that not just your friend group was trapped here, so you're talking to a lot of people who were trapped here before you. You're lowering your sanity. It's required to lower our sanity for a little while so that we trigger some like future cutscenes. And then right here, we have a very helpful earthquake. An earthquake that fills in holes in the ground. There is actually a reason for that. Basically, the way that this game actually works, the way that the supernatural plane works, is that it is a series of like planes stacked on top of each other. So while you and your friends are all trapped in this same location, they are all in different planes that are all like on top of each other. So not directly interactable, but they can actually affect each other's planes in different ways. So you'll kind of see that throughout the run as well, is like characters will cross each other's paths and not see each other because they're technically in a separate plane, but there are actions and interactions that actually work throughout the planes. Another major thing that Chapter 3 does is it actually separates all of our characters, which is kind of terrifying, but we now have Yuka separated from Satoshi, our main character. So, whenever we play as Yuka, there's going to be a lot of, like, tight dodges, like that one right there. That's not going to be the only tight dodge as Yuka, and one of the scariest dodges in the game is actually with her in Chapter 5. But there's a lot of dodges in this game that have not a lot of room for error if you want to do an optimal dodge. Oh, this is a fun little glitch. Watch Yuka teleport around the room here. Into the door frame, back behind him. That's a really cool one. I actually had the honor of finding that one. That is the same glitch as I was explaining in the Chapter 1 infirmary. What the game expects you to do there is walk out of the door, go explore around the room, be lost for a bit, because it's trying to explain Yuka is now alone and lost, and then walk back into that door and run into him. But, once again, if you hold two opposing directions, then you can go ahead and make the game think that you walked away from the tile and back onto it on the same frame and instantly trigger the cutscene. That piece of paper is interesting. You're supposed to be solving a cipher with 3 pieces of paper overlaid on each other. But the game only checks to make sure that you've interacted with one of those pieces of paper. And once again, there's no RNG. Hold on, say hi to the shy door. I love that door. Literally, if you turn your back on that door and give it some space, then it opens. It's just a shy door, that's all. The cipher, if you've interacted with one piece of paper and there's no RNG, so the location is always the same, it just assumes that you've solved it for some reason. So, you can just go ahead and pick it up if you touch one piece of paper. I'm gonna go for a pretty difficult early item interaction right here. And 3, 2, 1. Very clean, okay. Whew. Almost done. We're gonna check the final bathroom. And this is where we find out that the person now leading Yuka around is a murderer. Little bit of information for the player and not Yuka there. Another really interesting piece of tech about item interaction is while you're holding a direction, it actually won't let you interact with the item. So, there's the end of Chapter 3. A lot of what I'm doing is I have to know where the very beginning of that tile is. I take my first step onto the tile, I let go of any movement, interact with it, and then continue moving again. It's really punishing if you miss at least like a few of those in a run. It can be kind of brutal. Okay. Chapter 4 is the beginning of getting all of our party actually back together. The first of which is we are going to go save Naomi from Chapter 1. This is a really difficult series of, like, inputs here. If I miss any one of these, she dies, so we're going to have to restart. Give me just 1 second. Got it. Okay. Not too bad, not too bad. Okay. Now, for one of my favorite parts of the run, we are going to go appreciate this wall. It's just a good wall. That's a good wall. Okay. First and foremost, in Chapter 4, we're going to go back and get our creepy doll. Our creepy doll is going to continue to give us really cryptic messages and puzzles and stuff we're going to solve throughout Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is interesting. The premise of Chapter 4 is, in order to appease all of the ghost children, our next idea is to make them whole again by giving them back things that they lost while they were alive. And all of them, because of our murderer's MO, have a specific thing that they've lost. We are going to go collect all of their tongue bags. Yes, I said tongue bags. That is also literally what the game calls them, is a tongue bag. So we're going to collect 3 tongue bags for all of the lost children in here. First, we're going to grab Yoshiki, and then we are going to go on a tongue bag hunt. There we go. There's some also another really interesting item tech in this game. Just like our invisible tiles, there are some items where it expects you to interact with the item, leave, come back, and interact with it again. I will definitely point out some really interesting double item interactions in Chapter 4 here. But what we're going to do is, rather than do anything super complicated, we are going to interact with the item, run into the item, and then interact with it again. Running into the item actually counts as moving away from it because it's just checking for a piece of movement. So I'm definitely going to make sure to point out the double item interactions because they're super interesting. And then here is our first tongue bag. We found that tongue bag by being given a really cryptic riddle by the creepy doll. Once again, shoutouts, this game is really creepy if you play it casually. We skip a lot of the really creepy parts in the speedrun, and I feel like speedrunning kind of inherently takes a lot of the horror away from it. But that being said, if you like creepy games, this is a really good one to get into, especially for our Spooky Schools segment. We are going to give Rio back his tongue bag first. And there we go. So there's actually a floating key that we need here, but Satoshi is by himself right now, so we're going to go grab Seiko's cell phone, and then we're going to need to pick up Naomi in order to grab the floating key. Okay. Clean. This, Chapter 5 definitely has some of my favorite music, and I'm excited for y'all to get to listen to it. Mostly just trying to optimize movement here. Grab Naomi. So, when you were running the game, what was your favorite chapter? I'm kind of curious, because I can never figure out what my favorite is, because they're all really good. Floating key time. This interaction is really funny to me because they both already dealt with picking up a floating key, so they don't have to have a conversation about what to do about it. They literally just see the key and go, yep, I got this one. key to the janitor's closet. There we go. Okay, second tongue bag time. There is a hidden key in the floorboards here. I didn't touch the door. Oops. Go ahead and ignore that a little bit. You have to touch the door to trigger the next cryptic riddle from this puzzle, from the doll. But I definitely had to go down that hallway first. Don't worry about it. Okay. So this is a really interesting double item interaction. Watch this carefully. So you see a really quick little, he picks his foot up for just a second because I take a step towards it. You're supposed to interact with it, walk away, and then interact with it again later after like finding out some new information. It's really interesting that you can just like take that step there and then interact with it twice really quickly. We now found out that this school has a pool. And the next tongue bag is in the pool drain, so we're going to go ahead and drain the pool so we can grab it right out of there. I actually love the rain in this game. I think it's really well done, especially for being as old of a game as it is. Especially over time, this game has like gotten better and better with the graphics, so it gets like creepier and creepier. This is one of the older versions, so it's not as scary, but it's real creepy. We find out that someone is drowning in the pool here, but we have to go make sure Ayumi is okay. Before we check and make sure who's drowning in the pool, we have to make sure Ayumi is okay. Spoiler alert, she's not, so we're gonna go save her, she's not okay. There is once again no more RNG left in this game, which is fantastic. So, she is in the exact same location every time. I have to be really careful there to actually dive kind of late, because it's really easy to, if you press dive in the middle of moving to that tile, then you dive on the previous tile, which is really frustrating sometimes. So I have to make sure to kind of dive late there just so I don't miss it. There's a really funny little ladder glitch here that I can show off for y'all. It only works on the way back up, but pay attention to what happens when I go back up that ladder. What ladder? It only works on the tile to the top of ladders, but that is a consistent thing in this game, is if you interact with ladders and go to the tile 1 to the top of them, you just kind of phase through them, which is beautiful. Okay, there's our second tongue bag. Now we're going to go grab the third one. We're going to have another long cryptic riddle. We're going to have to go figure out where that one is. It's one of the longer ones, so go ahead and like buckle yourselves in. It's supposed to be like pretty far away. There's a series of steps you have to do to get it and everything. It's explaining all that here. And then, oh, Marishige, one of our classmates who we haven't really seen throughout this entire thing, says that he's just found this. Do you want to have it? And hands it to us. That's pretty convenient for a character that we just kind of like haven't seen for most of the run. Okay, we're going to go up here, and we are going to give the remaining tongue bags to the ghost children. I will say a lot of the glitches carried over through some of the other versions. I can't confirm each and every one though, because this is the fastest version that I know of, so this is the one that I've been running. We did find out that returning those tongue bags to the ghost children did actually get them out of that spectral plane. However, their friends are still trapped there, and the plane is still influencing the real world, the normal reality. So they basically make the very difficult decision here and at the beginning of chapter 5 that they have to go back and save the rest of their friends. This is a very long lore dump with some important spoilers that I will not tell y'all, because you should go play this because it's a very good game, but that is the end of chapter 4. And we are going to get into by far the hardest chapter, and I'm excited to show this off for y'all. I was doing some practice runs of this earlier, and I basically decided that I'm going to go all out, no safety strats, nothing for this, so y'all are going to see me do these text boxes as fast as possible because it looks frankly insane and is kind of terrifying, but that's kind of what y'all are here for, is to see the runner be terrified of their speed game, aren't you? This is a super difficult dodge. The way the AI tracking works is really interesting, and I'll explain that after I get this dodge, but give me 1 second. Got it. So basically, the AI tracking in this is really interesting. It uses just really basic pathing. So it will try to triangulate the quickest way to you, right? So like distance, and then whether going, you know, like left, right, down will be the tile that closes that distance the best. And it's just a really simple form of triangulation. But the way that we manipulate that on that dodge right there is if you get an up input as fast as possible right there, then the AI never thinks to go down to block your path. And because of that, the best way to dodge that is actually dodging as early as possible, because then the AI will never actually try to block your path in front of you. It's really interesting, but that does really cut down on like the amount that you have to react to as a runner. It's way easier because you have like predictable AI, and if you move the same time or the same like ways every time, then they will also move the same ways every time, which is kind of a speedrunner's paradise, to be honest. So it's nice that it works that way. We are also supposed to run away from him to the right, be scared off by that cabinet falling on us, and then have to go back to the left and dodge him. However, since we know that that cabinet is supposed to be falling to begin with, we can actually use that cabinet to push us a few tiles, so that saves just a little bit of time by going around left to begin with. Okay, we have a little bit of lore to set up how drastic Chapter 5 is. And then we have our Ayumi and Yoshiki deciding to go ahead and go back in to save their friends. There is one really important thing that, despite the fact that they didn't save everyone, appeasing the first 3 ghost children did, was it actually collapsed all of the planes. If you remember me talking about there's like multiple planes and that's why they can't see each other, they are now all officially on the same plane. So we can begin to gather everyone up to get them out of here, and that is the basic plot of Chapter 5, is now that everyone is on the same combined plane, we can gather everyone into one party and finally get them out of there. Okay, Chapter 5 also has a really interesting mechanic. I will show it off here in a second. Through most of the game, you can tell that we are basically plot-driven, right? So we are with the party that we're with, and we are following them for that story. Chapter 5 is the only chapter in which you can switch parties. So you can switch whoever you want to deal with, and you actually have the parties help each other along. So one finds a key for the other, or pulls a lever that helps the other progress, etc. So we're going to have the 2 parties help each other out throughout Chapter 5, and routing the optimal way to have the parties help each other is really interesting. First and foremost, we are trying to recombine everyone, so we need to find Yuka. So we're going to go find Yuka. Oh, she's been here the whole time. Super helpful. Now we're going to go pull a lever for the other party. And just like that, we're just about done with this party's helping of the other one, which is super helpful. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, this is one of my favorite songs in the game. Just listen to this. It's so good. It's like legitimately unfair for this game as how old it is to like have music this good. I will say, thankfully, throughout the remakes, the graphics do get better and scarier. Well, I guess it depends on who you are to say thankfully there, but you know. Okay. Now we are on a scavenger hunt. The scavenger hunt is really interesting. It is supposed to be kind of a test your memory of the school after you've been playing the game for this long. Luckily, jokes on the game, we've played this several hundred times, so we know where all the locations are, but it is going to give us little flashes like that of here's where the next node is. Do you remember this location? And luckily, I remember all of them. Okay, so the next one is in front of the main classroom. I hope y'all just enjoy the music throughout this chapter. It's so good. Then we have main hallway. And then finally, science lab. There is actually several items that are sitting out on the ground that we're not going to grab. They are plot items. However, this is 80%. It's 80% full game. Hold on, I have a really hard item buffer, or input buffer here. Give me one sec. Got it. You have two things trying to murder here, which is beautiful, which is why you also have to have really optimized movement there, or you die. I also, side note, always love that there's two things in here trying to kill you. Are you sure you want to unlock this door? I love that it asks. So we pick up as few items in any percent as possible. One, obviously, because it takes a little extra time, but when there is an item actually on the path, we avoid it because at the very end for the final ritual, you have to cycle through all of your items. And so you have to skip over certain items that are no longer necessary for the final ritual. So it is a huge, problem if you have too many extra, especially for muscle memory's sake. Okay. We are almost done with this party's half. And now we switch party. And we get to do a very nerve-wracking puzzle if you're a casual player. We get to do what I call the dark puzzle here. The dark puzzle is a little labyrinth through which you can't see the walls, and if you don't solve it within a minute, one of your characters dies. Luckily, once again, there is no RNG here, so once you learn the solution, it's not a problem, but solving this casually is terrifying. Especially because you only have a minute. Optimal movement in that was also interesting to figure out for the speedrun's sake, because you can't actually see the walls of it. So you just kind of had to like run into all the walls a bunch of times to figure out the optimal path for it. This room is really funny. You're supposed to walk around and explore all the lore and everything that has happened. We're just gonna peace out immediately, and the game says, no, you need to know the lore, and then makes us watch anyways. And this is our final item we need for the ritual. Still think the rain is really cute. Okay. We're going to go up to the 3rd floor for the first time. Sometimes I forget that that corpse is there, because it's not there in most chapters. Gotta avoid it. Okay, the movement in the principal's room is kind of difficult. Let me see if I can get a good one for you. There's a lot of bonkage that can happen here. Perfect! Super clean. And we have our first party under the underground. Just, making sure to optimize all of my item interactions, taking as straight of lines as possible, hitting each trigger as we need to. And then right here, we have, tragically, our final scripted character death, which is the teacher, but she saves Ayumi heroically. Very heroic death, but rip Shishido-sensei. This is a little debate that the game pulls on you. No matter what option that you choose there, it makes you think that that party died. Which, I remember stressing over that when I was first playing this. These are the underground ghost puzzles. They are really interesting. Some of the spirits realize what you're trying to do in appeasing, the final spirit, Sachiko. And so they try to give you a hint as to what directions to go. Those puzzles have a ton of trapdoors around them, and so while it does not kill you, it does throw you back to the beginning of the puzzle if you mess up. Luckily, because there is no more RNG, which is a speedrunner's paradise, it is the same solution to the puzzle every time. So if you memorize that solution, we can just skip them explaining what the puzzle is to begin with, and then just solve the puzzle on our own. We're gonna have one more ghost puzzle after this, but we have, for now, a very convoluted series of levers and labyrinths. It is really convoluted for a reason, and I will point that out later. That will definitely come back to haunt us later. Also, this song is just one of the most underrated in the game, in my opinion. I think it's great. Give y'all a second to listen to that. All right, here's our second ghost puzzle. This one is much harder. There we go. This room is interesting because you need to quote-unquote explore the room, but the room is considered explored as long as we open that single cabinet. And there we go, done. Explored all the room I wanted to. I'm getting slightly nervous as we walk up to the final ritual because I want y'all to know that there is going to be a ton of text options in a row, and if I miss a single one, the run is dead. It's a little scary, but I discussed it with my chat earlier, and we decided we're going to full send for entertainment value, so here you go. Okay. I'm gonna be just a little quiet while I'm doing it. Okay. We have to present everything that Sachiko remembers her humanity from. Okay, that should be good. There we go. Perfect. That is terrifying, because any one of those wrong, and you just die. That being said, remember how I said that this was a purposefully very convoluted labyrinth down here? It is purposely convoluted because now we have a Metroid-style escape sequence. Now that we have appeased Sachiko, the whole plane is collapsing and we have to get out of here as fast as possible. Remember these puzzles? If you fail, there is a trapdoor. The trapdoor throws you quote-unquote back to the beginning, but because we are trying to escape now, that's actually super convenient. We're gonna purposely hit those trapdoors. The bell tolls, if you see in the bottom that I'm skipping, there is 6 bell tolls. If you hit the 6th bell toll, everyone dies. And this is real time, so this part does actually need to be speedran. You have to make it out of there before the 6th bell toll. We're going to go ahead and hit the trapdoors once again. And we are almost out. Made it out of the underground. That's the 3rd bell toll. Even speedrunning this properly, I think you hit 4 bell tolls no matter what. So, like, it's a little tight. It's a little scary casually. Oh, perfect. All right. And this game ends after the final cutscene. So we just have a final cutscene to watch here, and then the run's over. This is a very touching final cutscene. I'm not going to give y'all spoilers once again because you should play this. It's a very good game, and there's a reason. Oh, 1 second. We're about to have time. 3, 2, 1, time. Woo!
GG. And then also the credits music, I think, for like the finale is pretty fun.
It's so good.
All right, great run of Corpse Party. For a couple of things before you, I guess, talk about the end here, do you have any shout-outs you want to give? And if anyone wanted to find you anywhere, like on Twitch, anywhere else, where can they find you?
You can find me on twitch.tv/Alice at Wonderland Games. I also have Alice at Alice A7 Games for Twitter, if you want to find me on there. As for shoutouts, first of all, shout out to D-Planet because we traded world records back and forth for this quite a while, and we really forced each other to optimize the game, so I really appreciate that kind of competition. It really makes the run feel really fun and important. Also, shout out once again to Dr. Dirigible for finding the Chapter 3 reroute. Shout out to Plank for helping me get into this game and learning the optimal routes for it. Shout out to everyone from my community that managed to make this run live. I really appreciate it. Shout out to the VOD squad. And also shout out to you. If you come back to this game, I'd be really excited to see you do some runs. And also, it's just a really good game. Everyone play it.
I have to at some point, I know that much. But definitely thank you for that run. Corpse Party is definitely a game I've kind of wanted to have on the show for a while, because I think a lot of the RPG makers don't get a lot of respect in the speedrunning community. So I really enjoyed that subsection of games, whether it be Corpse Party, Ao Oni, Mad Father, all that jazz.
Yeah, they're really good. I run a few of those, and they're all just fantastic.
Yeah. Anyway, everyone, once again, if you have not checked her out, you can find our runner at Alice at Wonderland Games. The link should be in Twitch chat. If you missed it, there it is again. Definitely check them out. It sounds like they do a lot of fun horror stuff, and you can find more Corpse Party there. For now, though, we're going to be right back very quick. We're going to be gearing up for our next run. We'll be continuing the dive into spooky schools. So don't you go anywhere. We will be right back. All right, everyone, we are back from the break. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that run of Corpse Party. It's definitely a very interesting game and a very fun one to watch as well, because I did not know there was as many subtle things about that game as there are. So it's always neat to learn something new about games that you might not expect them to have. That being said, continuing on into the night, we're staying later and later into school. And when that happens, it's called Detention. Speaking of which, our next game is going to be Detention, featuring our runner, Sasam. So take it away.
Hi there, I'm Sasam, and we can just get into this. So 3, 2, 1, go. So Detention has a fairly lengthy prologue, about 7 minutes, so we get some story time here. This is a point-and-click horror game, at least on PC. On Switch and PS4, it's adventure game with like actual controls and controller support. For some reason, the PC version doesn't have that, which is unfortunate because I prefer those controls, and it does make certain skips easier. But PC's fastest, and so is Korean language. This game actually has a pretty healthy selection of languages. There's Chinese traditional, simplified, Japanese, Korean, and English. The Chinese options in Japanese scroll downwards, whereas Korean and English scroll sideways, and for whatever reason that makes them faster, and then Korean is faster than English because of less characters and all that. There's actually a fun glitch. If you don't have a Korean language pack installed on your computer, the language doesn't show properly. You get like commas and periods and a bunch of spaces. So clicking options is really weird. It scrolls at the same speed though. It's funny, but it's not very useful for speedrunning. But yeah, so I have a history of being cursed when I show up on GDQ shows. All my past experiences, my computer has crashed horribly. The last time I was on for this show, for Layers of Fear, my cooling unit died on my computer. And while I was getting it fixed, I decided to learn this game because I saw my buddy Starwin playing it. I'm like, I have it on Switch. And it was kind of important because I ended up finding a skip in it that, unfortunately, as I said, much easier on console. It was almost impossible on PC. For some reason, when you go from the right to the left, when you do this skip, because you have to do it left to right and right to left, it was almost impossible. It wasn't useful. But when Ecdysis asked me to run this, I started testing again, and I found a new skip that makes that all irrelevant. So as of Sunday night, we have a new skip, which unfortunately makes us skip the majority of the school section. So we're not going to be at school for very long. But yeah,
it's fair.
Thankfully, my computer has not died yet. Some of my audio sounds a little weird, so I don't know if I'm just paranoid or not, but
I'm definitely hoping that this time your computer won't break. Before the run actually began, my Discord crashed. So we were joking that this time my computer is going to break, and I hope that doesn't happen either.
Yeah, fingers crossed, knock on wood. Yeah, because I think the first GDQ show I showed up on, at the time, I had a memory leak error that caused my PC to crash anytime a program attempted to access a video device. And I was running Fatal Frame on PS2. Oh, my audio does sound weird. Oh, that's strange. There's like distortion on the background noises. Interesting. Anyways, we have to find a necklace for the asleep girl here. We just find her first because it's faster. Most of this is just, regular point and click stuff. All the prologue. But yeah, so I had a memory leak error that caused me to blue screen whenever that happened. I always forget I don't actually have to interact with that before I use the umbrella. You do on Switch, which is what I mainly run this on because I prefer console controls. But that's also how I found all of these skips, is the Switch is really clunky, so it makes weird things more obvious. So I highly recommend running games on bad versions, like not optimal consoles, because it makes issues more prevalent and more obvious, which can lead to discoveries a bit more, I think. But yeah, so I had that happen, and it was really convoluted how I had to do stuff to make it work. Sometimes it doesn't let you give that necklace to her right away, and she walks. At least she walked towards the direction I had to go. If she walks the other way, you just lose time. Walking this way isn't bad because it makes you walk till after her. So we've overslept. We're trying to leave the school. That's pretty much what's going on. We've got a bit of dialogue here to mash through once we walk a bit. But then we'll get into the real sort of gritty part of the game. The first two chapters after the prologue, I think, are the most interesting because there aren't enemies in the later chapters. It's more just puzzles. So the first two, the routing's really interesting, dealing with the RNG of enemies. And I think the lingered skip I found last year made chapter 1 super, super interesting to route. But none of that matters anymore. I'll go for... There's one lingered we pass, so I'll go for lingered skip. On PC, it's really hard. Hopefully I don't die. But we're going from right to left. So it's doable. If it is left to right, you have to do weird Alt-Tab pause buffering, and it is not good, and you do not save time because you are Alt-Tabbing way too much. I tried really hard to make it work, but it just did not. But yeah, so... This is kind of the prologue. Oh no, the bridge is out. The water looks like blood. Things are afoot. And we just have a bit more dialogue to mash through here. Or click through. It actually doesn't matter how much you really... how fast you mash here. Text kind of goes at the same speed, which is nice. You just have to keep a consistent mash. At least when you get these sections of dialogue of them talking back and forth. The interesting thing here, too, that I find with it scrolling left to right is it just changes the name for who's talking. Whereas with the Chinese and Japanese options, it actually changes the side of the screen that's talking, which I think helps a lot to tell the difference of who's saying what at the time, which is neat. But yeah, so we run off here, and then it's oh, weird shenanigans, ghosts disappearing. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. But that's the prologue. We're now gonna get into the real spooky bits and scary bits for running. Have you seen the skip yet, Ecdysis?
No, not entirely.
Okay.
But you told me what it does, and I'm curious. For context in the past, chapter 1 is standard point-and-click horror game. You're gonna run around, solve puzzles, and eventually you need to get a lock, a number combination to solve a locked door. But so Sam mentioned that before I even asked him to be on the show, or I think afterward, that they found a new skip.
Yeah, so originally I was going to run this on Switch so I could do all the lingered skip stuff because it's really consistent compared to PC. But while de-wrestling and practicing on Sunday night, I found a new skip. And I was originally going to save it for this, but yesterday I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna do some runs, and I kind of swept the leaderboards using it, and then posted the tutorial last night. So if you're watching the speedrun forums, you could have seen it already. There's been some other runners already looking into it, which was my hope, because if people are interested, you can definitely find other runners like Isofreeze and Muffins doing stuff with the new skip. The community is active right now, which is nice. So we're coming up on the first lingered. This is lingered skip. Hopefully it goes well. I'm actually going to focus because it's really hard on PC. But what I'm going to try to do is get as close to this enemy as possible and turn around. And turning around is really hard on PC. Okay, we got it. So what you do is you turn around and you get hit. And when you're hit and in the hit animation, you can input to move, and you'll move backwards for a few frames. And your back is coded differently from your front because of the enemies in the second chapter. To get past them, you hold your breath and let them walk past you from behind. So normally here we'd have to do a bunch of puzzles. There's a bunch of those enemies. You get these items that distract them, but with the running with lingered skip, you didn't have to do that. None of that is relevant anymore. Same property of your back is coded different if you don't move. So we're going to do some moonwalking. At least it looks like that on console. It's a bit different here. So we get right up to this gate. We have to click right at the top, hold our breath, and click to move, and unhold our breath at the same time. And we just kind of moonwalk through the gate, and we're done chapter 1.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah. So...
yeah.
Yeah. That saves about 5.5 to 6 minutes, depending on what platform you're running on.
Yeah, like, going back to what, I guess everything there, normally you have to do this whole thing where you're meant to run around the school, get a number combination, like get teeth, get a bowl, cut off the guy's neck so you get blood. That just skipped the entire level. Like, that's 1/4 of the game done.
There's lingered all over the school you have to run by after you go and, like, look in the mirror in the washroom the first time. But yeah, no, we skip all, which is a shame because it's actually my favorite part of the game and my favorite part of the run, and it's just irrelevant now.
It has to be usable somewhere else, though. I really have to wonder, like, there has to be another way we can use that.
It really isn't. The only other place it theoretically would be usable would be in Chapter 4, during some of the like shadow puzzles, but you lose the ability to hold your breath during that section. You can't do it because it's specifically when you click to move after holding your breath. Yeah, that's ended chapter 1. When you click to move, you have a second where it does the same thing as if you're in a hit stun, and you will move backwards. It looks really funny on console because you don't have to keep resetting yourself and turning around because it's not point and click. You can actually just keep doing it consistently really fast, and it does look like you're moonwalking, which is really funny and cool, but... Which I did buy the PS4 version yesterday to test that, because I was like, I gotta make sure it works on all versions. To be fair, I don't know if it works on mobile. I've never played mobile. No one has done runs of it, so... Maybe it works on mobile. I don't know what the controls are like, so... I don't know how easy that is to tap, but this is chapter 2. We're no longer at school. We're kind of at, like... this is like a police office place. So this is... Yeah, this game is set in Taiwan during the White Terror period. And, you know, police making people disappear. So a lot of the themes here, scary police area. There's like, we're going to see the second enemies really soon. There's 2 scripted spawns of them. The rest of their spawns are RNG. You generally only want to get 1 spawn. If you get more than 1 spawn, you're losing like 20 to 30 seconds almost. Like it's pretty bad. We gotta get this incense for a puzzle here. The writing on this area is like really cool as well. I really like these areas that seem non-linear but have very linear like roaded paths. So these are the new enemies. They're like watchers. I'm gonna be really safe here. And yeah, we have to like let them walk up behind us, hold our breath, and then let them walk past us. And this, I believe, is why our back is coded differently, specifically for this enemy, which is what lets everything else kind of work, which is neat.
So, as a quick question, because I saw it asked in chat by Lieutenant Browncoat here, how did you discover that glitch?
So the lingered skip, sometimes when I'm bored and not doing stuff, I just mash controls. And I was just kind of doing that on Switch, and it's super laggy, and you can sort of walk backwards just by mashing back and forth fast enough on the controller. And I was like, oh, I wonder if that's relevant because there's the enemies that you can like go backwards from, right? So I tried just clicking around back and forth while an enemy hit me, and sure enough, I slid through. Or not clicking around, but like flipping back and forth on the stick. And so that's how I found lingered skip and knew that you're back, you could move. And then, yeah, just on Sunday, I was like mashing buttons again and hitting like hold your breath, unhold your breath, and I move backwards. Like that's all it is. Sometimes you just button mash and things happen. And as soon as I saw that it kept the same like directional face as I moved backwards for a second, I knew it could probably be used. I didn't know how, because it's not useful for enemies, because once they start hitting you, it doesn't let you hold your breath anymore. You're like scared. And it doesn't work with these guys, because the second you let go of holding your breath to try to slide, they just grab you and kill you. I did try all that, but yeah, I knew that gate was up then. I was just like, you know what? That's probably got to be a thing. I bet there's a way to skip past. Also, we have to hold our breath here, or the dolls will yank us up into the sky and horribly murder us, so. I don't hear the guy laughing. Usually things go... Aw, you know what? I didn't grab the thing. Okay, never mind. Something was off there. I didn't click enough to pick up the item. Unfortunate. Okay, now the dolls will kill us. In a horrible, horrible way that we don't want to have happen. It's okay. My PB got two random enemy spawns here. If we only get one, we're even on time. So we got like the item in the basement and this fan, and we use them to unlock a door here. And continue on to the next part of this area, which this area loops, which makes it interesting throughout. I had some ideas for a while with like death warping, but unfortunately when you die, it takes you to like this one section where you have to walk through two screens first. Oh, which makes it not useful, but it only does it the first time. Every time after that death, you just respawn like in a set location in the area. But unfortunately, those two steps are just too much time killer. This is one of the main hallways that we might run into the spawned enemies, so hopefully we don't. It seems like you're more likely to run into two if you run into one early. I think there's less chance of running into two in a row, but it increases the number of rooms you go through without running into them. That's what it seems, at least. So we get the key here. We really don't want to run into an enemy here. You can actually be safe and run the other way around. We ran into an enemy. We're probably getting two. This is probably bad RNG. Probably. We might still get lucky. You can't quite do it this time because you have to unlock the door from the other side, but after this like trip through, you could theoretically go the other way if you thought you were going to get a second enemy spawn to not. It probably is still slower, but if you don't want to die or risk dying, it's something you could do, but probably wouldn't recommend it. I did also find recently like a wrong warp with the door. If you enter it and leave it at the proper spot, you have to click the proper spot because it makes you leave immediately instead of take a step to left or right and leave. And all it does is like, it's in the prologue, it teleports you just slightly down the hall. And I haven't found another door to use it yet, but if we could, I think those doors in that hallway, you could use it to just go further up and down the hallway and potentially save time. But I haven't found ways to wrong warp with those doors. And the one I found is worthless because it moves you away from where you need to be, which is not good. And that was by accident. I accidentally clicked back into room and tried to click out of the room as fast as possible. I just happened to click the right spot. It was pure luck. So we've looped back around. We're back here. We got the key from that room. So we can go up to the roof here now. And we're going to see a ghost of us sort of jump off the roof. If you watch the top of the head, it never actually leaves the screen. They didn't move the model far enough down before it stopped moving. So you can actually see its head still like off the side. Like you can see the very tip if you look at the bottom there. I can't hover over it because that bottom part comes up and makes it disappear, but that's a fun little thing in the game. So now we've got the film reel, which we're going to use to get a code. This code never changes, but unfortunately we do need to do this puzzle for the next step to work. Oh, I clicked to move too soon. Yeah, I don't know why the sound effects sound off. That's off-putting. That's scarier than the game itself. I'm a little worried. So one of the like small pieces of tech to this game is with PC, you sort of interact with some stuff as soon as you click on it. So you want to click like as close to yourself as possible to like interact with it as fast as possible. It's really noticeable on doors on the back wall here. As you can see, I can like click on either side of the door. Oops, didn't mean to hold my breath there. But I would go through at those different spots. You want to click as close to you as possible. Also, we have this switch. We just switch it until the light comes on. There's like a hand that scares. There we go. So, what I didn't realize oh yeah, that's the other scripted spawn, but we go this way, so it's fine. You have to click it a few times and then move your mouse around on PC. On Switch and PS4, you just have to click a few times, and it happens immediately. So for the longest time, I would just sit there for like a minute click spamming until it would come, even though you can get in a few seconds like that. I keep accidentally hitting the other mouse button and holding my breath. That is unfortunate. So here we have a piano puzzle, and it's the song we just put on. Wait. I did that in the wrong order. These sound effects are actually really scary. I don't like this. I think something's wrong.
It is a horror game.
Yeah, but when the sound
don't let
effects
the
aren't
computer
horror sound
break.
it's not even all of them. It's like I think something's up with my audio, my like audio card. I bet what it is because I use like voice meter in the background. Something about voice meter's off because that happens sometimes. Yeah, see, we got another one. So when I said we had that first one, we had a high chance of running into another near the end. Here's the other. It's unfortunate. This would generally, if you were going for a world record, be a reset if you get to. Like, it's just a pretty big time loss, but like it's surprising how much you actually lose because it doesn't feel like that much when you're sitting there, but it really adds up. So this is what we needed, that film reel. It had this phone number to call. And now we have to pretend we're not home now. Because we just snitched, and people don't like snitches. Go away, big bad wolf. And they listen. They're a kind, evil spirit that wants to murder us and stuff us in their giant bags on their back. They even left us a present. Look, it's a doll. Alright, so we have 2 more screens to pass through where we might run into an enemy. If we run into another one, that's really, really bad RNG and kind of funny because I almost never see it happen. This could be the time. But yeah, like with how long these hallways are, this is where I'm kind of like, if I could figure out if you could wrong warp here, where you just like teleport halfway down the hall when you come back out of the room, it would be super useful, but unfortunately, it seems really precise, and I don't know if it works on any other door. So we need these 2 dolls we got to put on a play to get a key. This is one of those like classic sort of horror puzzles where it's like, how do I get a key from this? And it's just kind of weird, and it's not what you expect. It's just in one of the dolls. But yeah, so that gets us the key to the end of this chapter. So we have no more worry about running into enemies for pretty much the rest of the game. Now it's going to mostly just be doing puzzles as fast as possible. I actually really like the puzzles in the next area. Like, from a casual standpoint, they're really cool and well designed, but they're a bit stressful, like for this section for speedrunning, because it's just optimization. Like, it's just try to do things as fast as possible, and that can be rough. I especially find with the mouse. I don't know why. I just find it less precise. I find it a lot easier to do stuff on console because everything has a set time it moves at, so you can tell if you're doing stuff fast, whereas mouse, it's like as fast as my arm can go. Fun thing about running this on keyboard and mouse, though, is you do it all one-handed. Like, it's very easy when doing like runs to just open a water bottle with your other hand, take some sips if you need, right? Like, you're not too locked in. Also, if you use notes for any of the puzzles, and there are options, which, I mean, I have notes next to me, you can easily like flip through them. It's pretty comfy. That's one of the reasons I like running this game, is because it is like not a ton of super hard tricks. It is just very comfy, very laid back. I like runs like this. It's part of why I run horror games. I say that being a homecoming run, which is like the least comfy thing ever. I said homecoming run, not runner. Ugh. It's all good. It's been a long day. So, yeah, this is kind of the end section. You're supposed to sort of find out more about the plot through the rest of this, because we're kind of dumped into this, and this is like us figuring out our memories again for the next few sections. That lagged for a second. Oh no. Knock on wood. Again. There will be nothing wrong with my computer. There will be nothing wrong with my computer. So, yeah. This is one of those games that kind of is really easy to pick up because it is pretty linear, which is really nice. It's also one, though, that not a lot of runners stick to for a long time because it is, like, not as much in depth. I think it's really great as a run for, like, the type of things you do at Dices with, like, the viewer choice marathons and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, like nice one and dones. It's great.
Yeah, it's pretty easy, honestly, to remember the route, even if you've done a few runs. Like, when I de-rusted this, I never watched any of the VODs or runs. I just went, okay, I'll redo a run. And I think I only forgot one thing in one order because I wasn't paying attention, and I died in Chapter 2 and respawned somewhere else and came from a different direction because it is that loop. So I didn't pass, like, whatever thing that I use as, like, a landmark, because a lot of the way I remember this game is just kind of, I have done this thing, I go this way, and then I hit something that reminds me of what I'm doing next. Like, if you sat me down, I probably could not talk you through how to do this run, like, in order. But if I see it, then I just remember it. So that's Chapter 2. We asked for some advice from the big judge person. They read us our fortune. It's not looking good. So this area, casually, is super cool because it's kind of like our memories. And we go forward and back through time a lot, which makes the way you get the information about stuff really interesting when you're playing it casually, of course. So this radio is like our time dial, and dialing forward and back really fast it saves and loses you seconds on runs. Especially on PS4. For whatever reason, the controls on PS4, everything moves super, super fast. It's like uncomfortably fast. So trying to get precise inputs in spots is like kind of stressful. So this puzzle's cool. Those portraits we're going to see later, you have to remember the clock faces, but then also imagine them as if all the portraits are face up. So that's like the beginning of the time loop thing, and now we're going to go farther in time, and everything's upside down now, which is actually relevant. We put our glowy juice in the puddle, and now we have some footsteps to follow. I believe if you try to follow this without using like the light off, it doesn't work, which is an interesting choice. I think it would have been really cool if you could just remember the path of the doors, but...
It would be, but I get it. The game assumes that you must need it, and it will just kind of keep you in infinite limbo until you have the confirmation.
Yeah, it'd be cool for speedrunning, though. But, I mean, the game is definitely not designed for speedrunning in mind. Yes, this is like our middle point of the time period. And this is where the rest of that clock puzzle is. The controls are very different between console and PC. You actually like just keep rotating on PC, whereas on console it's like you have to grab each clock face. I always feel really bad at this, and I think I did those backwards. No, I did them the right way. Woo. You can do that way faster, but I'm trying to be careful with the puzzles to make sure I actually just do them. Because when I try to do runs and get good times, I'm doing them really fast. Half the time I mess them up and then just lose time. It's weirdly precise. Actually, how like the frame distance those handles, or I guess arms need to be. Arms is the correct word for a clock. But yeah, so now the painting's here because we've fixed it. They write themselves. They glow red. This door glows blue, except it flickers so we don't get to see it. And now we're in this mysterious place. We have some dialogue. There's going to be a lot of dialogue in this chapter. Because, again, it's discovering our memories. It's learning about a bunch of stuff. Actually, even with Chapter 1 skip, you barely skip any of the plot, which is kind of cool for a speedrun. Unfortunately, it's all in Korean because Korean's fastest, so... I mean, if you read Korean and are a really fast reader, you could probably still get the full plot. Yeah, read really fast, because these text boxes don't stay up for long. But, yeah, we have to get, like, a bunch of different sort of items that are keyed into different points of our memory and, like, what caused everything to happen throughout this. So the paper airplane's one because it symbolizes, like, we're going through a rough spot. We're, like, turning our homework into paper airplanes and tossing it, and so we end up going to see the counselor. When we come back, we get this new radio station, which is a further point in time. And onward to more puzzling. I hit... This one's always funny on PC, because you have to, like, drag your mouse sideways, and you just hit the side of the screen a lot of the time, and then you, like, have to go back. You just barely miss it. And then this is a puzzle where you have to turn off the right lights. I actually forget... Wait. Yeah, that didn't interact. That was weird. I forget how you tell casually. I think I just trial and error brute force this casually. I forget the actual way to tell that puzzle. Yeah, we're in like our dad's study. You can see like drawings we drew as a kid.
If I remember right, the way to tell the puzzle is the person will be going the wrong way in the mirror, if I remember correctly.
Ah, that would make sense. It has been a while. It has been quite a while. Like, I started running this a year ago, and that had been a while after, I think, casually playing it and watching people play it. Alright, so we get the coin. Why is it letting me out? Okay. And then we have the piggy bank. Put the coin in the piggy bank. You can speed up the animation by like left clicking and right clicking at the same time. But now, because everything's upside down, the piggy bank is smashed. And we've got a movie ticket. And I accidentally looked at the shard. I'm trying to click to get out of the frame, but if you're too close to that broken shard of glass, you'll accidentally look at it and lose like a second. There's some weird points to click you have to like pay attention to with PC, and again, I generally actually run this on console, not PC, so I'm bad at that. Yeah, we're off to see the movies in this wonderful world that is like Main Street. We have to show our ticket. You know, no getting into movies for free. Show your tickets, everyone. And it's movie time, so there's just a bit of an unskippable cutscene we have to sit through. There's gonna be a few of them near the end here. But this pretty much ends most of the puzzles for this section. There's only really like one item left we have to get and then give to the counselor guy again, and then we're pretty much done. There's just like a thing at the end, and then we get into the final chapter, which has some interesting puzzles. There's the puzzles I feel like we could skip if you could hold your breath, but sadly we can't. So we get the deer necklace there, which is another one of the key items for this section. So we go back home from the movie and oh no! The inspector man is here. He has inspected this room quite thoroughly, as one can see. We need this item. It's like a ledger or our homework or something. And then we go back to the second area and we go to the room we didn't go to before, which I only ever remember when I'm like, where do I go from here? Oh yeah, where's the one place I haven't gone yet? And I said, I really don't think about it beforehand, which brain. We got fish flying in the sky and it's all black and white. I guess one thing I didn't mention about this game is the artwork. I think is part of what makes it really creepy.
Absolutely.
For me, it reminds me, as a kid, there was this show called Angela Anaconda, which I hated, and it horrified me. And this animation style is very similar, like the realistically photo style, hand-drawn, papercraft almost moving. Reminds me of that show, which that show I only found out recently actually used photos of real kids. I thought it was drawings, but it's like cut up photos of kids moved what was it, South Park style, and it's weird. If anyone's seen the Digimon movie in Canada, it had like an opening thing with Angela Anaconda. And yeah, I don't know, that gave me nightmares as kids, so this game, for whatever reason, reminds me of it and freaks me out.
It's definitely accurate.
Yeah. So that last time we have to pick up, weirdly enough, it automatically gives it to you on console. Like, you don't have to pick it up. So I don't know if people just like kept not picking up and getting stuck in this area, and they decided to change that. I'm not sure. Weird thing about PS4 too, I noticed. So here, I have to start giving the items to like copies of ourselves. But in the second chapter, a lot of the background breaks up and there's weird scan lines. And I don't know if that's just my capture card doesn't like PS4, or if the PS4 version's just weird, but that's another version difference I forgot to mention. It hurts my eyes, so I don't like to run on PS4, and that's why I run on Switch. Because I prefer controls and not hurting my eyes and giving myself headaches. Alright, so this is the end of chapter 3. We're like giving a play of ourselves here. Like we're on a stage. Oh, it's a one-man show. We overhear some nasty things and I mean not so nasty things, but we pass out. And that's where we would then awaken and be found by Wei, who is the guy we played in the prologue. And what sets off everything. You get to play him in the prologue and in True Ending in the epilogue, but we are doing any %. We will not be doing that because that's about 5 minutes slower. But yeah, we're going into the last chapter. There's some neat conceptual puzzles here, but they're very slow. So I would like to find skips for them if possible, but I've got pretty much no leads. We're also going to intentionally be making the wrong dialogue options because to get True Ending, you need to pick up 3 items in this section and then just do 4 correct dialogue options. But they're slower than doing the wrong options, so we're just going to do all the wrong options and not pick up the items. Yeah, so that's like our flashback of what happened. If anyone's pieced together the plot just from like the cutscenes, good job. I'm not spoiling it.
Plot is school is scary.
Yeah. There's a Doraemon. Woo. I noticed for the first time in part of my language, I don't know if it's just on the PS4 version, but when I was doing True Ending PS4, I noticed there's like a dick butt drawn somewhere. Like, you know,
there is.
Drawing I'm talking? Yeah.
But it's a True Ending reward.
It's so out of place. It feels so out of place. It was so weird.
It's a fun reference.
Is this PS4 only?
Nope, it's in the original PC version. It's a reward for getting the True Ending.
So much.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. Okay, contextually, I'm going to say right now, this isn't a spoiler, but in the True Ending, time would have jumped by, like, I think 40 years.
Yeah.
And you're in the school and it's all covered in graffiti, so it makes sense someone's going to draw the dick butt.
Yeah. What really threw me off is the fact that I had been going the wrong way in all my other True Endings. I'm like, wait, it's just faster to go up the stairs on the other side of the building. And that was the first time I saw it after running this for a while. I don't know why I've just always gone the wrong way. I lose like, I don't know, 5 to 10 seconds or something. And I was like, wait a second. Like here, I almost went the wrong way now because I was thinking of going the way for True Ending. It's like, no, I go left here. But yeah, so this is an interesting section where we're kind of going back between like our memory in the past and like limbo and like the current time period. We get these. So this is like the gap I think you could probably cross. Oh yeah, I go back here. I think you could cross if you could hold your breath, but it doesn't seem like you can. So our shadow follows us. It'll follow us back and forth. We need to go around. We have to go all the way around. And I wish I could find a way to skip this because it's a simple puzzle, but it's a time-consuming puzzle. We get to see the state of the school, though, which I think is the point of it. It really makes you take in like how much time has passed, which noticeably that graffiti is not all there, which is interesting because this is like sort of current time, sort of not then. Yeah, but we have to loop around so the shadow doesn't follow us back through. The shadows don't like passing lights, so when we come in from this side, they're here. We talk to them again. We need to choose the wrong dialogue option. The correct option is 1. So we're gonna 3. This is the part that's really hard. Oh, I 2'd instead. It's fine. We still get ... I don't
know.
This is the part that's... I'm not actually good at selecting these options because this is the part that I used to run with the broken Korean like language installation. So all I saw was like a period, and I had to select one of 3 periods, and it's really hard to know where to click. And this is like the part is why you want to install the Korean language, especially if you're doing true ending. Because once you start doing true ending and really need to get the correct one to get the ending, or else the run ends, it's like, oh no. Yeah, the other neat thing is when you walk around the school there, you see all of like the ghosts of you looking around. Those are like the clues of which doorways and places you have to go into, where you get these like memories and stuff. We're following around this individual, which, I mean, you already mentioned like 4 years have passed. It is an individual, a person, a human, you could say. You could weigh. Sorry, that was a bad pun. I had to, though. So we got a few of these cutscenes to go through. I love the soundtrack here, but fun fact, because I mentioned I learned this on Switch when my computer was dead, what I did was I played it on my big TV and just pointed a camera at it, but I had to turn the volume up to make sure like this awful mic I had to record it would like pick up the audio to make sure it's valid. And that noise, I had multiple people in my household come down and be like, what is that sound? Because it was just like real noise to them and they thought something was horribly wrong. So be careful playing that on like max volume. I'm about to do a magic trick and make a broom fly. There it goes. Up and away. I don't know what their choice was to make the broom just float up there. Oh yeah, that piano song we played earlier for the puzzle, it's now playing here. I really like this tune, actually. It's comfy. We see his back, we walk away. We're not here to listen to the music as fantastic as it is. And that timing gets us back to the door just as it fades back out. Now we're back. I remember getting really confused here the first time I was learning this, because I walked into this room and I'm like, wait, it's a dead end, but you just walk out again and you're elsewhere. But we're pretty much done. This puzzle is my favorite in this section because it has to do with like turning on the lights and figuring out casually isn't hard, but it's one of those ones that like I think trips a lot of people up for a second because they like I try to figure out what to do and they miss that there's a second light switch here. Which that gap too, if you could hold your breath and walk over, it might save time somehow. But yeah, the shadow stops moving when there's light, so you have to like in the other world turn on this light. Get to talk, and once again we will try to choose 3. 2 is also okay. 1 is the correct option. We got 3 this time. Woo! I did it wrong correctly. And now, once again, we're going to snitch. Which is kind of what caused all this to happen. This is also like the last dialogue option. The correct dialogue option is 2. So we need to make sure we don't click anywhere near the center of the screen. If you're really good, you know where the dialogue options show up. I am not really good. And we gotta follow this man some more. I've been wondering for a while. For some reason, his shirt reminds me of something because it's the white and blue stripes, and I swear he looks like a character from something. But I've never been able to place my finger on why I get that feeling. I feel like it might be a reference to something, because this game actually does have like some references hidden throughout it to stuff. So we did not get the true ending because there's no paper airplane here. That's fine. We're gonna get berated by ghosts of ourselves. No, average Wednesday evening. And this is the end. We end the game with a walk of shame. So we've got some time here. I may as well just do my shoutouts now, honestly, because we gotta walk for a bit. And there's not a ton to say. So, shoutouts to the Detention community, to Isofreeze, who does a lot of the speedrun moderation stuff. Muffins, one of the new runners, who's around. Starwin, who, of course, if I hadn't seen running, I wouldn't have ran this. The Floor is Floor, who is world record holder at the time, and I watched his runs for a lot of what I learned, though I think they've deleted and quit speedrunning or something. I'm not sure. And to Ignisis for hosting the show and breaking my computer, which made me learn this game in the first place, and then inviting me back to make me learn another skip that ruined my favorite part of this game. So, thank you.
No problem. Glad to hear. If you have been enjoying Sam as well, you can check them out at the Twitch channel in Twitch chat.
It is just twitch.tv/SaySam, SAM. Not like the mango chutney. I learned about that after I took this name. I need to try it still. I haven't had Sasam yet.
Wait, your name's based on mangoes?
It was not, but I found out it is a thing, and I need to try it. Alright, so time comes up as soon as we use this item. And time.
GG. This is a very sweet game, I'll say. It's a very emotional game with some cool speed tech that was found. So I want to say thank you for showing it off.
Yeah, this game actually hits pretty hard with some of the themes it delves into. I definitely recommend it for a casual playthrough.
As well, before we head to our final run of the night, do you have anything else you would like to add?
Check out all the other runners. They're all great. Enjoy White Day coming up. Catlink is a fantastic runner, and that game is really cool. I really enjoy runs of it. So, yeah, thanks again for having me, and that's about it.
All right. Well, we're going to be getting to our last run of the night, so don't you go anywhere. We're going to get that ready, so we will be right back.
Wait, what was the time?
49:32.
That's world record by a minute. That's the first sub 50. Okay, let's go.
Okay, there we go. All right, everyone, we are back from the break. I hope you enjoyed that run of Detention. It is always very neat to see how games thrive and adapt. Especially a game like Detention, a point-and-click game, getting a brand new skip skipping the entirety of the intro. It was really cool to be able to show off, and it is, well, we got a world record during GDQ. So big cheers to Sam, and last, and certainly not least, we're going to be continuing our dive into the journey of school-based games with probably one of my favorite school games. We're going to be having a White Day Labyrinth of School, an Labyrinth named School featuring Catlink. So take it away.
Hello, everybody. Hello, thank you, Ek, for having me on. We're going to be doing White Day. It's going to be any percent heming, which is basically, it's going to be like a new game plus, but I'll explain it in further detail later. I want to apologize in advance if you hear any sick noises. I'm still recovering from COVID, so please bear with me. But I'm really excited to get this run going. Ek is going to help me on comms whenever I get a little icky, so thank you. All right, we're going to get this started. We're going to be playing on hard mode, and that's going to be for literally one specific trick, but we're going to get started in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so immediately we're going to be diving into the school. It's a very haunted school. Lots of spooky, scary skeletons and ghosts are roaming around these parts. But first, we're going to figure out where everybody is. It's a little late out here. We're going to do some menu canceling there. So there is a fun little thing with this game where if you click on an item and if you back out immediately, it basically It almost is like you didn't even pick up the item. Okay, sorry. So we're going to be doing a lot of dialogue selections. We're going to be picking very specific dialogue selections because we do want certain of the ladies to be around when we need them. So you're probably wondering, what is White Day? White Day is essentially a separate Valentine's holidays, basically, where if you were gifted something on February 14th, then you would gift that person something on March 14th. So that's essentially the rundown on what White Day is. All right, we're going to pick up these items here. She wanted us to go get a step ladder because we need to go vent. We're going to be extra sus today.
Oh, no.
Sorry, I'm going to try to mute out the coughing when I can.
All good.
All right. Hello, ma'am. We got your step ladder. Now to get into the vent. Now that we got our pliers. All right. So yeah, I do have my notes in front of me because this game is actually, it has a lot to remember. It does carry a little bit of RNG, so a lot of the codes you're going to be seeing are completely random. Also, enjoy this cutscene. It's my favorite thing in the world.
It's the fish.
It's the fish for me.
How frozen do you think that fish is to, like...
It's pretty stiff, so I'd imagine it just came fresh out of the freezer.
You know, I'm not gonna lie though, I think I'd rather be beaten by a frozen tuna than like a non-frozen tuna. I feel like you had to put more work into that one and it wouldn't be pleasant.
Yeah, no, yeah. So you're probably all wondering, why was that man wearing a maid outfit? So there are DLC outfits for this game. There are plenty of outfits for this game. That is my favorite one for him. It is the only outfit I will have for that janitor. That janitor looks great. He's a very pretty maid, so we let him have it. But you can pick different outfits for every single character that you interact with in the game, so that's kind of cool. You can make them look like anime BlazBlue characters. You can make them look like Nathan Drake. And you can make them look like Ice Princess. All right, so we're going to be coming up on our first couple of puzzles here. This one's not too hard. It's just move the things until things happen. Just move them around. It's pretty simple. There you go. Grab those. Don't want to forget items, because if you forget items, it can mean certain death. We don't want that.
It should also be noted that while some of the puzzles in this game will be predetermined, some of the puzzles will be RNG, and Cat will have to adapt to that as the run goes.
And that's exactly why I have my notes, because there's only a set few amount of answers that you need. But for the ones that we need, it's nice just to have them there, because there's a few different times where we're going to need codes. All right, make sure I select the right ones. I don't want to make her angry, because we're going to need her later. Every girl in here is important and has a job for us to stay alive, because they do actually get rid of the janitors. You'll see in a moment what I mean by that, because sometimes they will chase you, and then if you don't get a certain cutscene, that's not great for you. So we're gonna grab this tranquilizer here. We're gonna need that because unfortunately the stamina in this game is quite not great. It's not the best. So I mentioned earlier that this run that we're doing is New Game Plus, and the only reason why it's New Game Plus is because she's here. Literally the only reason. Usually on a normal New Game playthrough, you wouldn't interact with her, but on New Game Plus, because we have to delete our save file, I believe it is, I just leave it for New Game Plus. It's the main category, so she's just kind of there as an extra dialogue choice. It's not really much of an extra thing to worry about. Mostly just an extra couple dialogues, and it's all left choices, so don't have to worry about it too much, thankfully. But yeah, you don't want to piss off the wrong girl, because if we piss her off, then it's gonna be very upsetting for us. And hopefully the janitor is nice today. Oh, sorry.
All
All
good.
right. So we're going to be getting a janitor coming up soon, and either he's going to spawn on the bottom floor here, or he's going to spawn on top. Preferably, I would like him down here, but it looks like he's going to be spawning upstairs instead, which can get a little messy. But we should be okay. We're going to be getting a code here. This code is completely RNG, so we can't just randomly select. But generally, they're the same numbers. Usually always the same numbers. Just kind of depends on the playthrough. It's always going to be different. All right, so that was 3126, I believe. 3126.
Luckily as well, you don't have to actually put the numbers in order for these puzzles. They're just gonna be like on a box kind of thing, and you can just type in whatever you want.
Exactly. Makes it a lot easier. 3126. My chat likes to mess me up with the codes all the time. They're just like, haha, I'm going to give you the wrong code. And I'm like, haha, you're helping me anyways.
They don't know.
Yeah, they don't know. Now they do.
Also, some of the interesting stuff that happened, as you remember, Cat selected hard mode. Hard mode not only is going to be affecting a skip later in the game, but the enemy is more aggressive. Cat is going to be able to take less hits. So I think it's like 2 or 3 on hard mode max. The stamina drop you saw earlier is a result of hard mode. Puzzles that are timed, you get much less time. And just general aggression as a whole for the enemies.
Yeah, it's basically you only get like a few hits and then you're done. So we try to bait the attacks as much as we can to avoid getting hit, but sometimes you just get snagged a little bit near the end. But thankfully we had a really good building one here. The janitor was very nice and he let us pass. But now that we got the cutscene, we don't have to worry about the janitor. But now we do need to worry about the boss. So bosses in this game are very easy. I know we're playing on hard mode, but they're not really much to worry about. We're gonna grab this key. Ooh, nice little turnaround there, and we run. So essentially we're on a timer here, and the timer is just to be like, hey, hurry up, you don't have much time, but 8 minutes is more than enough time than we'll need. But right now we're going to be trying to get rid of this plant problem in this house. So one of the teachers really liked his plants, and the students ruined his plants. So he's taking revenge. All right, 94, which is 25 and 90. 25, 94. There you go. We need that, and we're also going to go grab a bug repellent or a bug spray, I guess you could say. We have to kill the plants with the solvent that we just picked up there, but we also are going to need this to complete the boss fight. If we do not pick that up, then the boss will instantly just grab you and you're done, and you'll have to do this whole section all over again, which is not exactly ideal in a speedrun. So we're going to try to avoid that by picking it up early, which I'm hoping. I've had a few times where I did not pick that up and it was the worst thing because I was like, wait, what happened? Is the game bugged? What did I do? Turns out I'm just forgetful. But we got it, we picked it up, and so now we're going to make our way and start killing all the plants around here. We have, I believe, 8 plants to kill. And then once they're all done, we can finally finish off the boss fight. Alright. There is a very specific order that we want to do these in. You probably saw that I went down to the first floor, then came back up. But that's because there's only one on that side downstairs, so we don't want to worry about it later by going all the way around and then coming all the way down to the other side. So we just kind of get it out of the way early. And then we deal with the rest on this side of the building. Oh, look at all them trees. Wow. Alright. And now I think there's 2 more left. There's this one and then the one on the bottom. And then it's QTEs. Yeah, so the boss fights in this game are all QTE based. It's a little weird. It gives you enough time to really do the QTE, which is good. But I always find QTEs can be kind of silly. Or at least it looks kind of silly. All right. Sorry. All right. Now that I just heard a terrible sound. It was me coughing. All right. Sorry. All right, we're gonna skip this cutscene real quick, and now we're gonna get our QTE. I'm like always get nervous on this part because I'm like, did I pick up the spray? I hope I picked up the flamethrower spray. Jeez, I hope I picked it up. All right, there we go, easy peasy. Boss fight done. Fire in a can. It just so happened to have fire in a can. What could possibly go wrong? All right, so now that the tree teacher is done with, we can now move on to building 2. But first, before we do so, we have to go pick up a very important item, because if we don't pick up that item, then we're not going to be getting out of here very well. All right. There you go. And now for our last bit of dialogue choice here. This is all left. The beginning of the game for selections is pretty much all left, with occasional right selections for dialogue. But for a lot of it, you don't have to worry. Also, look at that goofy run animation. It's fantastic. But we need to make sure she's happy. We don't want to upset her, because that's going to make building 3 pretty rough. All right. Now that we're done with that, we can move on. Off to building 2, where we get to deal with screaming babies. A lot of this game actually has a lot of really interesting lore. It's a lot. I highly recommend anybody who's interested in playing this game. It does have a lot of interesting stories if you like reading. It's not just random hoopla or whatever you want to call it. It does have like significance to the school and everything about the school, but yeah. I ain't gonna explain all that to you in like 20 minutes. All right. Anybody want to name this baby? Last time I think we named him Steve.
Steve 2.
Steve 2?
The sequel to Steve.
The sequel to Steve. Love it. I love it. All right. So building 2 is probably one of the hardest parts of this run, just because it has a lot to remember. Please don't mind that girl. She's just having a nice nap. It's been a long day. Oh. Yeah, there we go. Yep, that pickup on that key can be kind of finicky, but that's okay. All right, we go to the second floor, and we're going to have to pick up some painting pieces, because without the painting pieces, we won't be able to get a very specific item. We're going to unlock this door for a puzzle. We don't actually need to go in that room. We just need to unlock it, so we can go input a key code down here. All right, so we have 3 possibilities for this code. 8124. Hey, first try, let's go. So this is going to be the hardest skip, kind of, not really skip, but hardest dodge of the game, because I'm going to have to grab a key item while being chased, and that can be very, very stressful, because he's going to be very close proximity, so I have to grab and go, pretty much. All right. So there's our janitor in question. We're going to have to be very, very careful here. Oh, it's okay. We can get hit once there, that's fine. It makes things a little bit scarier for when we go upstairs. So we're going to close these doors all along our way, so we don't have to fear for him, because we do need to get a cassette coming up. Thankfully, the cutscene here is going to get rid of the janitor, so we don't have to worry about him too much, but taking that hit can be kind of scary, especially for later down the run. Thankfully, though, there is some healing items. Whew, that dodge is definitely not my favorite, but we got through it, we got the key, and we don't have any spooky janitor yet. We're gonna have to deal with him again in a little bit, but we're not gonna have to worry about him right this second. Now we have to deal with him. Close the door. Okay, good dodge. All right, so we want to get into this door really, really fast. If we don't get into this door really, really fast, we're going to get knocked in the butt, and we don't want that. Oh my god, cutscene, come to me now. All right, we're good. We got the cutscene, and now we're home free. If we didn't make sure she was happy earlier in the run, and she wasn't there, that cutscene wouldn't have happened, which is not great. All right, so we got to do this puzzle. There you go. And unlock this bench so we can grab a key. This is also going to be RNG. 1328. 1328. 1328. 1328.
Or was it 2831?
Oh.
Hey, this one doesn't matter, everyone. You can just type in whatever you want, as long as you type in 1328, 2318, anything like that.
Mm-hmm. It makes it a lot easier to just input things, because even if you remember them, as long as it's the same numbers, you're fine.
Also, you may notice now Kat has a friend. It's the nerdy girl.
Yes. So she's just kind of here with us. She is our protector, I like to say. She is keeping the janitor at bay and keeping him away from us, so that way we can continue to do what we need to do here. Oops, wrong door. All right, now that we've unlocked that, we're gonna see our Steve too. He's very infatuated with the doll.
There's a very, very minor strat you can do in this room where you can turn on the light when you open the door. It's incredibly minor, but...
I forgot to do one thing. Oopsie. Thankfully, it's on the same floor, so it's not a big deal. So this game, this is a good way to show off that this game is very trigger dependent. So if I don't put this in first, I cannot look at the vase. But now that I've looked at the picture and the painting's all complete, we can now look at the vase and get the thing inside the vase. Vase, or however you want to. There you go. So now that we have the remote controller, we can go get the CD from the top. So... yeah, that's one thing about this game, is that you just can't skip steps. You have to do everything in a pretty, you have to do things in a specific order for the most part. All right. Now that we've gotten our item, we can now go get the other items. So I'm going to take it a little slow on this, because this key can soft lock if you're not careful. If you do pick up that key way too quickly, the game will just delete it from existence. Therefore, you have to reset. And so sometimes for marathons, I like to go a little slower so that doesn't happen. All right. So now it is boss fight time. We need to get the doll for the baby. The baby really likes the doll, but we can't just give the doll to the baby without doing a few things first. All right, skip all these. And a giant baby. We're going to turn that light on real quick, because we're going to need it on when we get the doll. We're going to go all the way down. And everyone will get to see how lovely this stamina system is in this. So you can already hear the heart going. And then the vision is just going to start to get real wonky. So if you are sensitive to motion sickness, sometimes that can trigger a little bit with this stamina. But thankfully, we don't have to worry about it too much, and I know exactly where I need to go. All right, now that we got the doll, we went to the 4th floor, and we're going to go put it in the oven, because we need to bake it first. Yeah, it gets really bad. Woo! All right, there you go. Pop that doll in the oven. Oh. Oh boy. Yeah, if you had motion sickness, I apologize. That's thankfully it only happens once or twice during this run, but it can happen quite often when you're casually playing, especially if you're trying to figure out where to go. All right, now that we've gotten the doll out of the oven, we grabbed it with our bare hands, put that in our pocket. We need to go put it in some water, which is thankfully just one floor down in the science room. Just open this door for simplicity's sake, and there we go. It has to be a very specific sink. I don't know why, out of all the sinks, it needs to be this one, but for some reason, it always just needs to be this one. But now that that's all done, we can finally give the doll to the baby and get on out of here. So I'm very excited for Building 3. So Building 3 actually is a very interesting tech, and it's the sole reason why we play on hard mode. All right, it's just some quick QTEs first. There you go. Done. Easy, boss. All right. Do. All right, grab the Earth token so we can unlock Building 3. So, because the AI is more aggressive on hard mode, we're actually going to be using that to our advantage for Building 3. So we're going to skip the entirety of Building 3 just because the AI is so kind and lets us go through the door. What a nice guy. We love that for us. But before we do that, we want to make sure she's happy. So she's going to be all right choices now. Because if we don't stick with her, she's not going to be in Building 3. She's going to be mad at us. And we don't want that. I definitely do not want to get chased by a janitor and ruin the entirety of the skip. Because she is very vital to the skip. We need her there. Yeah. There's been times where I've accidentally done left instead of right, and I'm like, no, ruined everything. It actually like ruins the entirety of the skip. So make sure she's a happy girl. All right. All right. And instantly go down the stairs to trigger the cutscene. And all right choices once again. Because we're going to be needing her here for a moment. And you shouldn't have to, if you were sensitive to the motion sickness before on the last building, you don't have to worry about it now, because most of the time we don't have to worry about stamina in this building. So it is A-okay. You don't have to worry about motion sickness. All right, give me that key card. So essentially what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be running towards a door. And it's going to be the door that we want to leave. Now, as soon as I get to the door, I'm going to run at it for a second and then start walking away. Not running away, walking away, because the AI will think that's where I was last. So we want to open up this door, run, and start walking away. This is going to give the AI a little bit of time to run up here and go to check the door. You see the light. Wait one more second. There you go. And open the door. There it is. And that's Building 3 skipped. It's a very, very simple skip, but it can be very, very easy to mess it up as well. But yeah, it's super cool because Building 3 is notoriously hard. It has a lot of interesting ghosts that can make your life a living hell. So it's nice to have that skip. But Building 3 is also very interesting and why you should play this game. All right, so we're going to turn on the lights because I can't see anything in here. Oh, we need to get into the little atrium down there, or the basketball court, so we can finish off the final boss. Oh. All right. I'm going here. I'm probably going to be picking up a healing item because the healing can be a little we're gonna have to deal with a lot of fire, is what I'm getting at here. Also, chat, be sure to get your O's ready. Oh, I love the music in this game. It's so good.
It's a banger.
All right, there we go. Ooh. So good. All right, so we're doing this in a very specific order. Oh, sorry, I almost messed that up for a second. All right, we're going to do this in a very specific order, so that way we can avoid the boss as much as we can, and also get the fires out. So the fires here are actually, they still exist even if they're not there. So we have to wait a little bit of time before moving on. I'm actually going to use that while we're here, so that way we don't have to deal with that. All right, make sure to not touch the fires, because fire, surprisingly, fire is ouch. Who would have thought?
I can't believe it.
How
long have you known?
I know. What? So because she hit me there, I'm actually going to take a little bit of a safety heal. Because she hits hard. She hits very, very hard. And the fire as well, in addition to the damage, would not be ideal, and I don't want to die here. Yeah, fire is ouch. We don't want to touch it, because if I touch it now, I will definitely die. So we're going to use that heal right there, which gives us a full heal, which is very, very nice that exists there. There you go. Let's go put out some fire. All right, so she's going to be very, very close on our butt here, which shouldn't be too much of a worry. It just takes a while to put out the fire, so I always get nervous that she's going to be like right behind me. Oh, there she is. That is fine. Turns out we can also run right through that fire, and that's always fun. We're going to be coming up on time very, very soon. So you get your last O's in. All right. And time's going to be coming up after I do a few selections here.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. She's fine. We saved her. She's really fine, chat. Look, she looks great. Never looked better. And time. That was White Day. Whew. That went a lot better than I thought it would be. We're going to skip through the credits here. 28, 24, not too bad. It was pretty good. Thank you, everybody, again, for watching. Thank you, everybody, from my community for stopping by and checking out the run and everything. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for putting up with my sickness. I promise you I am sick and it's not great. However, we made it. If you want to come check out my channel, you can check me out on twitch.tv/catlink. You can also find me on Twitter in the same handle, as well as YouTube. Love to see you over there. So yeah, thank you, Ek, again, for helping with comms. I always appreciate you.
Definitely. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that run of White Day. Kat is an excellent runner, does a lot of horror games in her time. So if you have not checked her out yet, please do so. Yeah, I'm sure you'll find great content there with horror speedrunning. Anyway, that about wraps up our show for the night. I do want to say thank you all for watching. It was nice taking a dive into the world of schools and all the horror games that kind of revolve around them. We're going to be back in a couple of ways. First, we'll be back in 2 weeks with the normal Speedruns from the Crypt show. However, as a special announcement, I was able to plan a one-off. It's going to be coming up, and I'd like to officially announce an upcoming event called the King of the Silent Hill. This is going to be an event. It's going to be 7 Silent Hill games, 14 racers. We're going to be having a lot of fun with that, so stay tuned. It'll be happening on November 19th, and it should be an all-day affair. It'll be a lot of some of your favorite runners, some of your favorite commentators, a grand day of Silent Hill. So I am excited to tell you about that. But once again, everyone, I do hope that you all have a wonderful rest of the day and or night. I do hope they enjoyed the show. If you ever want to hear more about Speedruns from the Crypt or anything in terms of, I guess, what I know about GDQ and how I talk about it, I tend to talk a lot about both horror speedrunning, and the stuff somewhere down here. You can find me at Ecdysis on all areas, Twitch, Twitter, all that jazz. Anyway, without further ado, I hope you have a good rest of the day and or night. Thank you all for watching, and please join us for a raid. I'll be raiding a member of the horror speedrunning community, so have a good one, everyone.